Chapter 1881. Is this a desperate act? The 4 passive spells have all been upgraded to the White Star level. Except for status immunity, which has changed, the effects of the other spells have been improved. The 2 major resistance spells are becoming more and more powerful in reducing damage from laws. Coupled with the talent, the combat power of the Undead Legion will be further improved. In particular, it also increases the damage reduction ability against rules, making the Undead Legion more durable when facing the other shore realm. If this effect had been available before, Lin Mo would have been more confident when facing the Abyss Dragon Demon or the future Buddha. It's a pity that these 2 spells no longer provide damage reduction for Lin Mo, the Master. These 2 spells have become spells specifically for the Undead Legion, and seem to have nothing to do with the Master. Lin Mo immediately thought of the reason. As his realm improved, he had fewer and fewer opportunities to participate in battles himself. Most battles are carried out by the Undead Legion. Especially after reaching the God Lord realm, the number of the Undead Legion will inevitably increase significantly. Even if several summoning spells have been fused, the number will definitely exceed 100 million, and there is no need for him to personally participate in the battle again. Moreover, the damage reduction effect of damage transfer has also increased to 5 times, and with the increase in the number of the Undead Legion, more members can share the damage. This also changes the way of enhancing survivability. Lin Mo is very clear that his survivability is enough to crush any God Lord. Most of the spells have been sublimated, and now only the 3 curse-type spells are left. Infinite Fusion is still working hard to fuse them. It seems that it has reached the end, only a final breath away. Lin Mo took the opportunity to check the 2 major source spells. He found that their fusion degree had increased to 200%, but there was no qualitative change. They are still star-level spells. It seems that the qualitative change of the source spells is not that simple. It may require not only the fusion degree, but also some specific opportunities. Looking at Infinite Fusion again, the situation is the same. The fusion degree has also increased to 200%, but there is no qualitative change. As the spell fusion reached the end, a strange aura was transmitted. Suddenly, Lin Mo's soul shook violently, and a rune appeared out of thin air in the soul world. This rune carried a curse aura and pressed towards his soul. The curse of the Great World rune that had been repelled before has now reappeared, and its power seems to be even stronger than before. Unfortunately, it came a little late. The spells that Lin Mo should have sublimated have already been sublimated. If it had come earlier, it might have caused some small trouble, but now. Lin Mo sneered, his vision is different now, he has already understood. You are just a curse derived from the Great World rune. I don't know why you want to suppress me, what the purpose is, but I just want to tell you, you couldn't limit me before, and you will never be able to in the future. The soul suddenly stood up, grasping the staff of natural disaster tightly. The huge world tree felt Lin Mo's will, and its branches waved wildly, whipping towards the curse rune. The curse rune was whipped and trembled, constantly twisting, but it still persistently pressed towards Lin Mo. Having had several experiences facing the curse of the Great World, Lin Mo is no longer the rookie he once was. The soul-shooting bow appeared above his head, directly fully drawn, and 10 drops of myriad color water flew out and merged into the soul-shooting bow. A purple light flashed, and a purple sharp arrow directly hit the curse rune. With a bang, the curse rune was shot back a distance, and then rushed towards Lin Mo again. The world tree branches drooped, intersecting to form an airtight tree wall. The curse rune crashed into the tree wall, emitting bursts of red smoke, and at the same time, the sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling was heard. A hole was corroded in the tree wall, and the 9-colored dragon soul crystal flew out, crazily crashing into the curse rune. The dragon roared, and the 9-colored dragon soul crystal was shaken away, but the curse rune was also weakened a bit. Lin Mo waved the staff of natural disaster and took the initiative to meet it. Like swatting a fly, the staff of natural disaster heavily slapped on the rune. The rune was suddenly slapped away, almost shattering on the spot. The power of the staff of natural disaster was too great this time. This is the hardest weapon Lin Mo knows so far, and it hits everything accurately. When taking the myriad color water, the myriad color dragon was also scattered all at once. The curse rune can withstand one hit, which is enough to be proud of. The curse rune glowed red, seeming to be afraid of Lin Mo, and suddenly turned its head, ignoring Lin Mo, and instead pounced towards the White Star of Spells. The White Star of Spells had just completed its sublimation and was still wrapped in laws. The curse rune was shaken away several times, all to no avail. At this time, a bolt of lightning flew out, accurately hitting the curse rune. The entire soul world lit up, and the curse rune let out a wail, almost being scattered. Lin Mo clearly saw that this lightning came from the curse-type spell constellation. The 3 spell constellations finally completed their fusion, 3 in 1, pure white, and with electric snakes entwined. Streaks of lightning shot out from the spell white star, striking the curse runes. The infinite fusion spell constellation was beside it, like a commander, pointing and striking. The curse runes seemed afraid and began to flee, seeking fresh flowers. Infinite fusion whooshed and chased after it, the newly fused spell white star following behind infinite fusion like a lackey, constantly firing lightning. This scene made Lin Mo speechless. At least it's a derivative of the Great World Rune, give it some face. However, he only thought about it and didn't say it out loud. The curse runes desperately fled, with infinite fusion and its lackey crazily crushing behind it. In the end, the curse runes had nowhere to escape and randomly chose a spell to crash into. Bang! The curse runes crashed into a spell, and then the spell shattered. Lin Mo was stunned by this scene, speechless. Is this what they call a desperate dog jumping over a wall? The curse runes shattered a spell, but it wasn't a constellation or a white star, but the worst type of planet. Among Lin Mo's spells, there was only one spell planet, the soul calming spell learned from Antares. Its fusion level was only a pitiful 20%, with no hope of ever advancing to a constellation. Lin Mo couldn't remember how long it had been since he paid attention to it. With his current ability, he didn't need any soul calming spell to separate a strand of his soul, he just needed to think about it. The soul calming spell had been completely abandoned, but he didn't expect it to become the target of the curse runes now. The spell planet couldn't withstand the curse runes and directly shattered. Lin Mo looked at this scene, feeling helpless. I don't know if you'll appear again in the future, I really don't know what you're playing at. Appearing again and again, failing again and again, I really don't know who cast this curse. Lin Mo muttered to himself, infinite fusion whooshed and flew in front of him, circling around Lin Mo. It seemed very happy, waiting for Lin Mo's praise. Lin Mo reached out and gently patted it, you've worked hard, go and rest. Infinite fusion understood, conveying its joy, and whooshed back to the top of the soul world. It was still high above, even if the spell had sublimated into a white star, it was still under its jurisdiction. Lin Mo then began to check the newly fused curse-type spell. Time Curse White Star Level Effect 1. Continuously burns the target's soul for 24 hours, and puts their soul into a poisoned state, continuously taking damage. Effect 2. Greatly reduces the target's all abilities and increases the degree of damage taken. Effect 3. The caster can put the target into a state of time acceleration, up to 1000 times. With Chapter 1882 I don't know how many I can summon. Lin Mo felt the spell effect of the time curse. Although it didn't specifically say how powerful it was, one could imagine that killing opponents of the same realm would be no problem. Killing opponents across realms might also be possible. 24 hours, 1440 minutes, accelerated 1000 times, which is 1.4 minutes, 86.4 seconds. In other words, the total damage that originally needed to be endured for 24 hours, after being accelerated 1000 times, will partially erupt within 86.4 seconds. The total damage will be very astonishing. However, time acceleration will conflict with the second effect. Once time acceleration is used, the all-round weakening of the target will be gone. In other words, time acceleration is making a choice between harming the enemy and controlling the enemy. However, for Lin Mo, the most important thing about this spell is to provide a reference for the law of time, not to kill the enemy. There are many ways to kill the enemy, this one is not lacking. In comparison, the law of time is much more important. 343. All the spells were sublimated, and the soul world returned to peace. The soul looked at its own soul world, looking at the world tree. Faintly, Lin Mo felt that his soul world seemed a little different. The soul world was filled with vitality. Even the Supreme's rule world didn't seem to have this kind of vitality. In comparison, his soul world was more like a real world. He looked at the world tree again. Many flower buds had already formed on the world tree. The flower buds were waiting to bloom, but Lin Mo knew very well that it was still a long way from truly blooming. Next to the flower buds were also hanging unripe fruits. Only one was slightly more mature, but it still needed time, which couldn't be rushed. Next, I will summon the Undead Legion and see how much the number has increased. Lin Mo was a little excited. The Undead Legion was his foundation. Lin Mo was full of expectations for the increase in number after advancing to God Venerate. He opened his eyes and saw a pair of bright eyes falling on him. Lin Mo got up and saluted Old Xing. Thank you, Old Xing, for your protection. Old Xing chuckled. Thank you for what? The old man didn't do anything. While you are here, unless the human race is captured, no one will come to disturb you. Lin Mo said modestly, with Old Xing guarding the human race, how could it be captured? This sentence was very sincere, but it also carried a hint of probing. After all, Lin Mo only guessed Old Xing's existence and was not completely sure. Old Xing narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Mo. Little guy, trying to trick me. Lin Mo generously admitted, you have sharp eyes. Old Xing was not displeased. My identity is different, guarding is worry-free, but I can't plunder territory. The outside world still depends on you young people. Especially you should know what you are burdened with. Lin Mo nodded. Junior understands. Old Xing waved his hand. You have broken through God Venerate. Go back if you want to, it's useless to stay here. Lin Mo said, Junior still has something to do, I'll bother you for a moment. As you wish. Old Xing turned his head and started his fishing career again. Lin Mo came to a more open place and summoned a skeleton god general. The spell linkage was immediately activated, and skeleton god generals, death dragon knights, and legion overlords appeared beside him. The speed of appearance was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of them had appeared. The benefits of spell linkage were fully reflected. Lin Mo only needed to start, and he didn't need to care about anything else. The White Star level skeleton god general exuded an amazing aura. Its realm had reached the 6th rank of God Venerate, and it was only a line away from the 7th rank of God Venerate. It was pure white, as holy as snow. This was a very strange feeling, exuding a holy aura from a terrifying and ferocious skeleton. It was as if what was in front of him was not a skeleton from hell, but an angel from heaven. The law of immortality flowed on the skeleton god general. The power of life surrounded its whole body, bringing powerful vitality, making the skeleton god general have amazing self-healing power. On the skeleton god general's sword, there was also a layer of gray light flowing, representing the power of death. The skeleton god general's attack would be accompanied by a perfect degree of the power of death, possessing amazing corrosiveness. With the power of the law of immortality, although the skeleton god general only rose one rank, Lin Mo felt that the skeleton god general was enough to be comparable to ordinary high-level god venerates. Looking at the Death Dragon Knight again. The Death Dragon Knight was tall and mighty, over 100 meters tall. The mere 5-meter skeleton god general standing beside it was so inconspicuous. The Death Dragon Knight was also entangled with the law of immortality, but in the law of immortality, there was an additional trace of the power of rules. This also meant that the Death Dragon Knight had reached the 7th rank of God Venerate, entering the category of high-level God Venerates. Needless to say, as the commander of the Legion Overlord, as long as it was given enough troops, the Legion Overlord would inevitably reach the 8th rank of God Venerate. As for the Skeleton King, it is at the 9th level of Godly Venerate. Regarding whether it has reached its peak, Lin Mo Yu doesn't think it's a big problem. His various enhancements are not just for show, even if it hasn't reached its peak, it won't be much weaker. If this continues, after I advance a few more levels, the Skeleton King will reach the other shore realm. Is it too terrifying for a godly venerate to kill someone in the other shore realm? Lin Mo Yu chuckled inwardly, imagining how wonderful the scene would be of a godly venerate killing someone in the other shore realm and causing them to flee in a sorry state. Now he's just waiting to see what the final number of the Undead Legion will reach. Cough, cough. The sound of coughing interrupted Lin Mo Yu's thoughts. Elder Xing looked over at some point, his eyes still carrying lingering astonishment. You're a summoner? Elder Xing asked with some surprise. Lin Mo Yu nodded, sort of, I'm not really sure myself. Elder Xing shook his head, that's not important, how many of these guys can you summon? He's already summoned tens of thousands. But the summoning clearly hasn't stopped and is still continuing. Lin Mo Yu said, I don't know how many I can summon, I'll only know when it stops. Elder Xing raised an eyebrow. Spell linkage, what star level is your spell? Lin Mo Yu didn't hide it, 9 stars. Elder Xing's expression immediately became exaggerated, his mouth slowly opened, wider and wider, as if he were about to eat someone. His expression seemed to become incredibly excited, his entire face trembling and twitching. Lin Moyu asked, "Are you all right?" After a long while, Elder Xing finally uttered a sentence, 9 stars, there really are 9-star spells. Lin Moyu found it strange, there should be others who possess 9-star spells, right? I heard 10 stars are the legend. Bullshit, Elder Xing interrupted Lin Moyu, abandoning his usual steady and slow way of speaking, appearing very excited. Which guy told you 10 stars are the legend? 9 stars are already the legend. No, not 9 stars, 8 stars are already legends. Even 7-star spells are achieved through special methods. Tell me honestly, is your 9-star spell an 8? Lin Moyu answered very confidently, it's definitely an 8. All the spells were moved out of the skill space one by one, how could they not be an 8? Elder Xing excitedly shouted, good, 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 great. Come here when you can advance to the other shore realm, this old man has something good for you. Remember, this thing concerns whether you can break through to Saint Venerate in the future, be sure to come back. Faced with Elder Xing's repeated instructions, Lin Moyu immediately agreed. It concerned breaking through to Saint Venerate, how could he not agree? Chapter 1883, What if there were no other shore in Saint Venerate? The spell linkage continued, summoning without stopping. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Lin Moyu collected the summoned skeleton god generals, death dragon knights, and legion overlords in batches. This isn't the starry sky, there isn't enough space. First, the legion overlords were at full capacity. In the God King realm, the number of legion overlords was 1 million, and in the godly venerate realm, the number increased to 2 million. However, the number of legion overlords cannot be used as a standard, it was originally the smallest force. Legion overlords alone are useless, the key is to look at the skeleton god generals and death dragon knights. Both spells had been fused, and Lin Moyu couldn't estimate how many he could summon. Elder Xing didn't even fish anymore, he just squatted on the round stone where he usually sat, staring at Lin Moyu without blinking. His eyes were shining, filled with shock. He kept muttering, goodness, there are such guys in the great world. Too perverted, really too perverted. How can anyone play against this? There's no way to play. It's a good thing he's a human, if he were in the enemy race, 10 more Xiao Zhantians wouldn't be enough. Xiao Zhantian, oh Xiao Zhantian, you're lucky you weren't born in the same era as this little pervert, otherwise there would be nothing for you to do. No, otherwise there would be nothing for those guys to do. My human race is really going to unify the great world. Xiao Zhantian, oh Xiao Zhantian, someone can finally do what you couldn't do. Lin Moyu heard these murmurs in his ears, and he could tell that Elder Xing didn't have much respect for Xiao Zhantian. Lin Moyu realized that Elder Xing and Xiao Zhantian might be figures from the same era. Xiao Zhantian's era was 100,000 years ago. Saint Venerates can't live for 100,000 years, but the Elder Xing in front of him seems to have lived for more than 100,000 years. Is Elder Xing a supreme? The thought that had just arisen in his mind was erased, Elder Xing was not a supreme. Holy Saint Venerate had once said that Elder Xing was very special. In Lin Moyu's understanding, Elder Xing might not be a supreme, but he should possess combat power comparable to a supreme, and some characteristics that only a supreme could possess, such as an extremely long lifespan. After most of the day, the Death Dragon Knights were finally at full capacity. But the spell linkage was still continuing, and the skeleton god generals were still increasing at a steady rate. The number of Death Dragon Knights had skyrocketed to 100 million, a full 10 times more than in the God King realm. If they hadn't fused, there would be 100 million Bone Dragons and 100 million Death Knights. 100 million Death Dragon Knights, handed over to the Legion Overlords to command, with 100,000 as a team, can form 1,000 teams. There are 2 million Legion Overlords, but only 1,000 teams is still a drop in the bucket. Even if the skeleton god generals are added, the number of formations will not increase much, and it is completely insufficient to utilize all 2 million Legion Overlords. It seems that the number of undead legions should be able to increase in the future, and it is not the limit now. Perhaps, Lin Moyu had a guess in his mind, perhaps when the Legion Overlords reach the other shore realm, he would use the World Flower to rebreed them, giving them intelligence. That would be the time to truly form an undead legion. Now the Legion Overlords without intelligence still need him to personally control them. Even if they form formations, it is only to exert the Legion Overlords' own combat power, not a true undead legion. In his imagination, a true undead legion should have independent combat capabilities and exist forever. As long as he issues an order, the undead legion will automatically decide how to implement the order, without him personally manipulating it step by step. So intelligence is needed, just like the legions he had seen in the mysterious manor in ancient tombs. They all had their own intelligence. Not only did the commanders have intelligence and could think independently, but even some of the soldiers had intelligence. This is the goal he is pursuing. Little guy, are your dragon knights all summoned? Elder Xing's voice suddenly came. Lin Moyu nodded. They are all summoned. Elder Xing asked, how many are there in total? 100 million. Hearing this number, Elder Xing couldn't help but tremble. 100 million high-level godly venerates. Those races can forget about fighting. They can't even put together 100 million high-level godly venerates. If it weren't for those other Shore and Saint venerates, these 100 million dragon knights alone would be enough to flatten all the races. Suddenly, Elder Xing changed the subject. Come, test the power of these guys, see if they are just for show. Star Old Man raised his hand and gently pressed down. Vast power of rules surged out, forming a virtual arena. Then Star Old Man tapped a few times, and several runes flew from his fingertips and landed on the arena. The space on the arena was instantly expanded. The arena, which seemed to be only a few dozen meters in diameter, actually had an incredibly vast internal space. Star Old Man casually completed all of this. The whole process was so casual and natural that Lin Moyu was amazed. In fact, Lin Moyu can do it now, but it is impossible to complete it as easily as Star Old Man. It would take some effort. Star Old Man said softly, put the Dragon Knight in and let me try. Lin Moyu gave an, and released a Death Dragon Knight to rush into the arena. The Death Dragon Knight, whose size exceeded 100 meters, shrank sharply as soon as it rushed into the arena, occupying only a small area in the arena. Star Old Man said unhappily, are you looking down on someone? Put more in. Lin Moyu thought for a while, I also want to try new spells, I'll put a team in. Star Old Man gave an, that would be great. Lin Moyu released a full 100,000 Death Dragon Knights. After these Death Dragon Knights rushed into the arena, they immediately occupied nearly half of the space. Then he released a Legion Overlord, assigning all 100,000 Death Dragon Knights to the Legion Overlord. The Legion Overlord command ability was activated, and its aura began to increase sharply. Lin Moyu also took the opportunity to check the abilities of the Legion Overlord and the Death Dragon Knights. Open black lens bracket Legion Overlord close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level. God Emperor 8th Order close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket command units. 100,000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ability. Command close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket command. Can command the Undead Legion, forming an independent army. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket 1. Can heal his own legion. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket 2. Can resurrect his ruled legion with the help of undead flames. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket 3. Can gather the power of the entire legion to deliver a fatal blow, with a cooldown time of 1 minute. Close black lens bracket. The Legion Overlord own defense reached the 8th order of the God Emperor. Before the command was activated, its attack power was not strong. But once the command ability was activated, gathering all the abilities of the legion it commanded, it was a genuine 8th order God Emperor warrior. In addition, it can also heal the entire legion and manipulate the undead flames to resurrect its legion. Combined with the undead spirits and undead liches, the entire legion's combat power will be greatly improved. If it also possesses intelligence, it will be an incredibly terrifying undead legion. The fatal blow can even surpass its own level, fighting beyond its level. The White Star level Legion Overlord has a fatal blow cooldown time shortened to 1 minute, making it even more powerful than before. The attributes of the Death Dragon Knight also appeared in Lin Moyu's mind. Open black lens bracket Death Dragon Knight close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket level. God Emperor 7th Order close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ability 1. Dragon Breath. Sprays dragon breath containing strong corrosiveness, causing huge damage to enemies. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ability 2. Charge. Can launch a charge against the target. The maximum charge distance is 1 million kilometers, and the maximum speed is 300,000 kilometers per second. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 1884. They are a little hard to kill. The improvement from God King to God Emperor is huge. Although the Death Dragon Knight only retained the respective abilities of the two arms before the fusion. However, the effect has been greatly improved. The dragon breath contains the perfect law of immortality and is the pure power of death. The power of death can corrode everything, and the power of dragon breath is self-evident. The charge has even reached the speed of light. Under the premise of being unrelated to space, the speed of light is the fastest speed known in the great world. A speed of 300,000 kilometers per second allows them to surpass the God Emperor realm in speed. If they are chased, it will be an unimaginable nightmare. The Legion Overlord led 100,000 Death Dragon Knights, forming a simple and complete undead legion. Star Old Man chuckled, and a phantom appeared on the arena. The phantom was Star Old Man's clone, and from the aura, it reached the 9th order of the God Emperor. It seems that the 9th order of the God Emperor is 1 order higher than the Legion Overlord and 2 orders higher than the Death Dragon Knight. However, it cannot completely crush them. Everyone is a high-level God Emperor. There is a difference, but the difference is not that big. A difference of 1 or 2 orders, being able to fight dozens or hundreds of times is already the limit. Now it is 1 against 100,000, the outcome is hard to say. Star Old Man said in a low voice, "I won't be polite." He manipulated his clone and directly attacked. Countless starlight gathered above the clone's head, instantly turning into countless starlight arrows and smashing towards the undead legion. Lin Moyu also issued instructions simultaneously, and the Death Dragon Knights instantly launched a charge. They rushed to Star Old Man's clone like teleportation, instantly surrounding Star Old Man's clone, with dozens of layers inside and out, impenetrable. Dragon breath spewed out, engulfing Star Old Man. Star Old Man's clone was covered in starlight, standing in the dragon breath motionless, safe and sound. A large number of light arrows smashed down, and the Death Dragon Knights collapsed one after another. In an instant, at least thousands of Death Dragon Knights were smashed to death by the starlight arrows. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed. The law of starlight is so powerful. The law of starlight is in the second echelon of laws. Its characteristic is that it has strong continuous combat ability, but insufficient attack power. I didn't expect that in Star Old Man's hands, the power would be so great. Star Old Man squinted his eyes. Laws also depend on who uses them. Any law, even those in the third echelon, as long as they are used well, their power will not be small. He was a little complacent. Like the law of starlight, the advantage is that it has a strong continuous combat ability, consumes little, and can fight for a long time. The disadvantage is that the power is insufficient. If you can integrate a trace of other laws, such as the law of the metal element, it can greatly increase the power. He spoke while his hands didn't stop. Large swaths of starlight smashed down again. In just less than 2 seconds, the undead legion's damage had exceeded a quarter. Lin Moyu then noticed that there was indeed a trace of golden light in the law of starlight. This is not a pure law of starlight, but a composite law, incorporating the law of the metal element into the law of starlight. Star Old Man continued, in fact, you can also integrate other laws to achieve some special effects, such as... He suddenly interrupted before he finished speaking. The Legion Overlord raised his war blade high, and a ball of grey flame exploded from the tip of the blade. The Death Dragon Knights who had just died were resurrected in the flames. Star Old Man looked at Lin Moyu strangely. This thing can't be killed. Lin Moyu shook his head. Of course not, it's just not easy to kill. It is indeed not easy to kill. The Legion Overlord manipulates the undead flames and has the ability to resurrect Legion members. There are also undead spirits, which can be reborn 6 times every 90 seconds. If an undead lich is summoned again, it can be resurrected once. That is to say, in the absence of a Legion Overlord, if you want to kill a Death Dragon Knight, you need to kill it 8 times in 90 seconds, and the 8th time is the only way to truly kill it. If you add the Legion Overlord resurrection ability, then I don't know how many times you have to kill it. Lin Moyu can't even count it clearly. So Lin Moyu said it was not easy to kill, it was the truth. Star Old Man snorted, what's not easy to kill? See how many times you can resurrect. The law of starlight suddenly changed, and the starlight arrows turned into fireballs. The law of starlight wrapped in flames, instantly engulfing the entire arena. The flames continued to damage the Death Dragon Knights, not killing them instantly as before. Clusters of white light rose from the Death Dragon Knights, and the Legion Overlord began to heal the Death Dragon Knights. The fire burned fiercely, and the Legion Overlord healing was very rapid, maintaining a delicate balance between the two. Star Elder's expression changed again, muttering curses, "This guy can even heal." Lin Moyu gave a nod, "He does have some healing abilities." This wasn't just some healing ability, it was practically heaven-defying. In just a few seconds, Star Elder understood that sustained damage wouldn't kill the Undead Legion. To eliminate the Undead Legion, he needed instant burst damage, and it had to be sustained. He changed his fighting style again, and the Star Elder's Starlight Law underwent another transformation. The Starlight Law enveloped flames, and then a glimmer of water appeared. Water and fire collided, causing violent changes, and exploded. Starlight shattered, and countless explosions occurred in the arena. The Death Dragon Knights were blown to pieces, and tens of thousands were instantly killed. The Legion ruler raised his warblade again, and undying flames flew out, resurrecting the Death Dragon Knights. Then he suddenly swung his blade at Star Elder's clone. Fatal strike. Gathering the power of 100,000 Death Dragon Knights, space was shattered by this strike. Star Elder's expression changed as he tried to escape the encirclement, but found there was nowhere to run. The defense woven from Starlight Law was torn to shreds, and the fatal strike broke through the Starlight Law. Dragon breath immediately touched Star Elder, causing wisps of smoke to rise from his body. Star Elder's clone emitted an earth-yellow light that flowed like water, covering his entire body and driving out the dragon breath. Very strong attack, it has reached the 9th order of God Venerable, Star Elder commented from outside the arena. Lin Moyu smiled, "You're still the best, Elder." Star Elder heard that Lin Moyu was flattering him and snorted, "Watch closely, the next is my trump card." Starlight Big Bang. Star Elder's clone clapped his hands together, emitting a loud noise. Countless starlight shot out from his hands, and the entire arena was enveloped in starlight, then the starlight exploded. The starlight contained not only the metal law, but also the water and fire laws. These two laws produced a second explosion, further increasing the power of the spell. The explosion engulfed the entire arena, every corner of space. The Undead Legion completely collapsed in the explosion, falling one after another. Even the Legion ruler couldn't withstand the explosion, and after being blasted several times, he finally fell to the ground and died. Star Elder chuckled, "See, although there are many of you, if you encounter a real powerhouse, even if it's just a 9th order God Venerable, you will." His words stopped abruptly. The undead who had just been killed were resurrected, looking as if they hadn't been injured at all. Lin Moyu said casually, "They are not so easy to kill." As he spoke, the Legion ruler, who had just been resurrected, once again slashed at Star Elder's clone. The clone's defense was broken again, and Star Elder was a little flustered for a moment, quickly raising his defense again. Star Elder frowned, "How many times can you resurrect?" Lin Moyu thought for a moment, 8 times, maybe. Star Elder was speechless for a moment, 8 times. He would have to use that level of spell 8 times in a row. This was not a small spell, this large-scale spell consumed a lot of energy. Star Elder waved his hand, "No more testing, let's leave it at that." First 1885 chapters Generational Blood Feud, never dared to forget. Both sides stopped at the same time, Lin Moyu put away the Undead Legion, and the arena disappeared. Testing to this extent was indeed enough. Lin Moyu had a clear understanding of his Undead Legion. Under the leadership of the Legion ruler, each Undead Legion composed of Death Dragon Knights had the strength to confront a peak God Venerable head-on. If there were 2 legions composed of Death Dragon Knights, it would be enough to kill a peak God Venerable. As long as the space was sealed off, the peak God Venerable would not be able to escape the pursuit of the Death Dragon Knights. Eventually, they would be killed unless they had some special means, otherwise the chances of survival were not high. 1,000 such legions were enough to deal with 500 peak God Venerables. It didn't seem like much, but there weren't many races that could produce 500 peak God Venerables at once. If there was no existence of the other shore realm, just 1,000 legions of Death Dragon Knights would be enough to push through any race. What's more, the summoning of the skeleton god generals continued, seemingly without stopping. Their number had exceeded 200 million, but it didn't seem to have peaked. If the Death Dragon Knights increased tenfold, the skeleton god generals were also likely to increase tenfold. Then the number of skeleton god generals was likely to reach a staggering 500 million. 500 million 6th Order God Venerable Skeleton God Generals. If Elite Soldiers was activated again, the damage would increase tenfold on the original basis. The combat power of the Skeleton God Generals might be comparable to that of high-level God Venerables. 500 million high-level God Venerables, this was not just pushing through, it was simply crushing. Star Elder had now turned from shock to indifference. When you advance to the other shore realm, if these summons can also reach the other shore realm, then, needless to say, then the human race would be the overlord of the entire great world, with no possibility of opposition. Even if all the other races were added together, it would be useless. Lin Moyu alone could push through them. Lin Moyu nodded silently and didn't say anything. He thought in his heart, perhaps it won't be necessary to reach the other shore realm. Based on past experience, when he reached the 5th or 6th Order of God Venerable, he could fight against ordinary other shores. If he reached the peak God Venerable, he might be able to confront the Holy Venerable head-on. The summoning continued for nearly a whole day before finally stopping. The Skeleton God Generals were also full, really increased tenfold, a full 500 million. Star Elder instructed, before you have the ability to fight against the other shore realm, you cannot reveal all your strength. Otherwise, all the other shores and Holy Venerables of all races will destroy you at all costs. What rules that other shores and Holy Venerables of all races cannot take action are all bullshit in the face of the possibility of racial extinction. Lin Moyu asked, but other shores and Holy Venerables have to pay a considerable price to take action. Star Elder sneered, it's just some karma. If something really happens, do you think they will endure and not take action? That's true, Lin Moyu had seen Holy Venerables take action before. There would inevitably be a price, but the price hadn't reached an unbearable level. Lin Moyu nodded, thank you for the guidance, Elder. I will remember it. This is for you. Star Elder suddenly threw the lost star he had been sitting on. The lost star became smaller along the way, and when it fell into Lin Moyu's hands, it had become only the size of a fist. It had changed from a lost star into a law ball. If a Holy Venerable wants to kill you, you can crush it, and I might be able to save your life. But if it's just another shore, I won't come forward, you can pray for yourself. Star Elder said with a smile. Don't worry, ordinary other shore realms can't kill me. Lin Moyu nimbly put away the law ball. This was a good life-saving item. Lin Moyu was very clear about his strength. If the other shore realm wanted to kill him, it would indeed be a little difficult. Even if he couldn't beat them, self-preservation was basically not a problem. If the Holy Venerable wanted to kill him, he would still be in great danger. With Star Elder's law ball, he would have confidence when facing the Holy Venerable. Compared to the tokens given by the several Holy Venerables, the Law Sphere was much stronger. Having finally gotten the chance to interact with someone of Star Old's level, Lin Moyu seized the opportunity. Star Old, I have some questions I'd like to ask you. Speak, no need to be polite. In the God City Star region, the 7-colored rain and 7-colored Star River had long disappeared. But discussions about them continued unabated, their heat undiminished in these past few days. Yet no one could clearly say just what they were. Some families with long inheritances had many people searching through ancient texts and records, but the results were not ideal, with very few records in this regard. Until finally, the Human Emperor Network issued an announcement explaining the 7-colored rain and 7-colored Star River. However, the announcement didn't tell the truth, only stating that a powerful being had comprehended a new technique, accidentally causing the phenomenon, and there was no need to panic. In reality, there was no panic among the human race at all. Many people had gained benefits from bathing in the 7-colored rain. Some had broken through realms, while others had their injuries healed. Overall, this phenomenon was a good thing, and they couldn't wish for it to happen more often. Therefore, the trend in the Human Emperor Network changed once again. Countless people expressed their views on the Human Emperor Network. Since it's such a good phenomenon, then let's have it a few more times. I broke through a realm this time, a few more times, and I can break through a few more times. You're really daydreaming, cultivation isn't that easy. Exactly, I didn't break through, so why should you be able to break through? How could such a technique that can affect the entire God City Star region be used whenever one wants? I guess this technique is also a kind of accident, perhaps it also needs to be used in conjunction with some formations to achieve, and it's estimated that even peak God Sovereigns can't use it. Didn't the announcement say that it was some powerful being, definitely stronger than a God Sovereign? Anyway, it's always a good thing to have more of this kind of seven-colored rain. When my realm is higher, I'll be even more powerful when killing alien races. That's right, let's go to the battlefield and destroy those guys. The Human Emperor network was full of diverse opinions and was incredibly lively. In the God City, several holy venerables gathered together. Heavenly Holy Venerable wore a smile. This announcement seems to have been believed. Grand Holy Venerable said, regarding the matter of the seven-colored rain, we also learned about it occasionally in ancient ruins. Neither the Human Emperor network nor the various clans would have information about it. So they have to believe it even if they don't want to. Slaughter Holy Venerable said in a deep voice, I really don't know how strong little friend Lin can become after breaking through. I estimate that he can be ranked among the God Sovereigns. Grand Holy Venerable shook his head, I'm afraid he's already invincible among God Sovereigns. Little friend Lin was already able to contend head-on with other Shore before breaking through. After breaking through, he will only be stronger. His words were deeply agreed upon by the several Holy Venerables. Lin Moyu's performance was truly too outstanding, completely exceeding the imagination of ordinary people. Heavenly Holy Venerable was in an excellent mood at the moment. Through this seven-colored rain, fellow Taoists, you should all have seen the situation in the Human Emperor network. Our human race still maintains its vitality. The most crucial thing is that the hatred for the alien races has never been put down. The blood feud of 100,000 years ago is clearly remembered by these younger generations. As long as our human race's vitality is still there, and the memory is still there, eliminating the alien races is only a matter of time. Slaughter Holy Venerable sneered, one day, they will once again taste the fear of being supported by the human race. Grand Holy Venerable shook his head, no longer dominate. This sentence was understated, but it was chilling. No longer dominate, not forgetting the blood feud, but repaying all the blood feuds, completely destroying those races. The human race remembers all the hatreds, one by one, generation after generation, never daring to forget. Note: information about God's sovereign realm techniques and the Undead Legion is placed in the work-related section. Chapter 1886. Sword Holy Venerable without emotional intelligence. Lin Moyu was chased back to God City by Star Old. Originally, he had some questions he wanted to ask Star Old, but after asking a few, Star Old became impatient. He remembered that Star Old's expression at the time was a little strange, and his original words were, "You're amazing, you're awesome." Saying that, he chased him back to God City. Lin Moyu was a little puzzled. How could he suddenly change his face for no reason? I remember I seemed to be asking about runes. I was thinking about strengthening the golden armor rune. And also expanding the scale a bit, and improving Little Gold's abilities a bit. Right, it's Little Gold. Lin Moyu remembered. Star Old's face changed as soon as he summoned Little Gold. Then, the next moment, he chased himself out without even saying why. Lin Moyu was completely clueless. He identified the direction and flew towards the central temple of God City. Suddenly, an aura rose from afar, and Lin Moyu's whole body trembled violently. 143, Sister. He sensed Lin Mohan's aura. Since seeing Lin Mohan before the 4-star region competition, Lin Mohan had advanced to God Sovereign, and he hadn't seen her since. Unexpectedly, Lin Mohan had come to God City. Without even thinking, Lin Moyu flew directly towards the area where Lin Mohan was located. God City was incredibly huge, comparable to a galaxy. Lin Moyu, now a God Sovereign, could reach a speed of 200,000 kilometers per second without unfolding the wings of the undead. This speed was the same as other God Sovereigns, and the light speed lich had lost its effect. If he unfolded the wings of the undead, there would be no limit to his speed. Lin Moyu quickly approached his sister, and Lin Mohan's aura became clearer and more powerful. Sister's realm, at least a high-level God Sovereign, Sister's cultivation speed is so fast. Lin Moyu was slightly shocked. He never thought that Lin Mohan's cultivation speed would be so fast. But thinking about it, it was normal. Lin Mohan's cultivation speed had always been faster than his. No matter how strong his combat power was, in terms of cultivation speed, he would always have a gap with Lin Mohan. Between the siblings, there was no jealousy. The faster Lin Mohan's cultivation speed, the better. He couldn't wait for Lin Mohan to become a holy venerable. He knew very well that the reverse was also true. From afar, Lin Moyu saw Lin Mohan. Lin Mohan was sitting in the air in the center of a formation. The formation continued to operate, firmly protecting Lin Mohan. Above Lin Mohan's head, Two sharp swords danced like dragons and phoenixes, constantly emitting sword cries. The swords were not physical, but transformed from laws. On the two sharp swords, there were lost star rivers flowing respectively. These two laws seem a bit peculiar. In the lost star river of the left sword, it seemed to contain countless sharp swords. Every splash of water turned into a sharp sword. Every wave of the giant wave was also a sharp sword. The swords were of various sizes, countless, and all very sharp. Just looking at them would make one feel pain in the skin. The swords flowing in the law seemed to explain the ultimate truth of the sword, which was very fascinating. Is this the law of the sword? Lin Moyu finally understood. This law belonged to the law of the sword. Among the 100 ancient runes derived from the Great World Rune, one of them was the law of the sword. It's just that he didn't know the level of this law, whether it was in the first echelon or the second echelon. However, judging from the situation shown by the law, it should belong to the first echelon. The Human Emperor Network had no records of the Sword Dao laws, and no one had comprehended them. If I hadn't seen the Great World Runes, I probably wouldn't have been able to recognize this law. And the sharp sword on the right, the river of laws within it, is equally peculiar. Every drop of water seems incredibly heavy, looking like just water droplets, but falling down like meteors crashing into the ground. There are no huge waves here, the river of laws here is simply too heavy to create any. Lin Moyu recalled the 100 laws derived from the Great World Runes, corresponding to them one by one, and finally found the corresponding law. Law of power. This is a physical law. The number of physical laws is not large, and their ranks are not very high. The law of power ranks in the second tier, but in the law advancement system, the law of power is the ceiling of physical laws. Whether its power is great or not mainly depends on the user. If a weak and powerless person uses the law of power, naturally, they won't be able to unleash the power of the law of power. If someone with an incredibly powerful physical body, like Lin Moyu, uses the law of power, it would be twice the result with half the effort, allowing them to unleash amazing effects. After Star Elder's teachings, Lin Moyu understood the importance of laws merging with each other. If the Sword Dao law and the law of power are merged together, the sharpness of the sword, coupled with the immense power of the law of power, its destructive power would probably be astonishing. Lin Moyu looked at Lin Mohan, who was immersed in cultivation, without approaching, just watching from afar. At this moment, a blur flashed before his eyes, and a middle-aged woman in tight-fitting clothes appeared. She had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, not particularly beautiful, but exuded a sharp aura all over her body. Lin Moyu felt that she was like a drawn sword, sharp enough to cut through the heavens and the earth. This is a Saint Venerable. Lin Moyu was shocked, immediately recognizing the other party's identity. Lin Moyu slowly bowed. Junior greets Sword Saint Venerable. Sword Saint Venerable, one of the 6 Saint Venerables of the human race. War Saint Venerable, House Saint Venerable, Slaughter Saint Venerable, Heaven Saint Venerable, Rune Saint Venerable, Sword Saint Venerable. Lin Moyu had now met all 6 Saint Venerables. Sword Saint Venerable was the only woman among the 6 Saint Venerables, not particularly beautiful, but the unique temperament she exuded was unforgettable. Sword Saint Venerable looked Lin Moyu up and down. You are called Lin Moyu, what is your relationship with Lin Mohan? Lin Moyu replied, we are siblings. Sword Saint Venerable hummed, without any expression. Her tone was like her person, without any emotion. Lin Mohan is still cultivating, do you have something? Lin Moyu said, I haven't seen my sister for many years, I didn't expect her to be in Divine City, so I came over. Before he could finish, Sword Saint Venerable interrupted, now you've seen her, she's fine, I'm protecting her, nothing will happen, you can leave. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth twitched a few times. This Sword Saint Venerable's EQ is a bit low, she's so unsympathetic. Completely different from the other Saint Venerables. Each Saint Venerable has their own personality, the higher the realm, the more obvious the personality. It's just that this Sword Saint Venerable's personality is a little too obvious. Lin Moyu really wanted to say, me seeing my sister is none of your business. But Sword Saint Venerable didn't give him a chance to speak. You don't need to wait, Lin Mohan still needs to cultivate for a while. Moreover, your aura will affect her here. You are siblings, there will be a connection between your bloodlines. And after she finishes cultivating, I will also take her to another place, you won't have time to reunite. Sword Saint Venerable's words were sharper than a sword, directly making Lin Moyu speechless. Everything he wanted to say was cut off and stuffed back. Lin Moyu suppressed his displeasure. Where are you taking my sister? Sword Saint Venerable said, to cultivate. Lin Mohan is a rare sword Dao genius, this kind of talent cannot be wasted. Lin Moyu roughly understood, this Sword Saint Venerable intends to take Lin Mohan as her disciple. Lin Moyu asked, did you ask her if she is willing? Sword Saint Venerable was not polite at all, no need to ask, I decide. Damn it, Lin Moyu felt like he couldn't explain himself. Sword Saint Venerable lowered her voice, please leave, don't disturb Lin Mohan here, otherwise I can only force you to leave. At this moment, Lin Moyu's face turned slightly cold, and a fighting spirit rose in his eyes. Chapter 1887. She wouldn't dare do anything to me. Sword Saint Venerable's eyes instantly became dangerous and sharp. She was extremely sensitive to the feeling of fighting spirit, instantly sensing Lin Moyu's hostility. You want to fight me? Sword Saint Venerable's voice sank, and there was a faint sound of swords in the heavens and earth. Lin Moyu didn't say anything, just looked at Sword Saint Venerable. Fighting a Saint Venerable, although he would be defeated, it would also give Sword Saint Venerable a headache. 500 million skeleton divine generals, 1,000 undead dragon knight legions, and the skeleton king, none of them were pushovers. Sword Saint Venerable's sword intent was also rising, it's been a long time since anyone dared to attack me. Lin Moyu glanced at the sky, let's fight outside Divine City. Sword Saint Venerable showed a hint of disdain, do you think you can damage Divine City? Divine City might be strong, but if they really fought, it might really be partially destroyed. Suddenly, several streams of light shot over quickly, arriving in front of the two in the blink of an eye. Heaven Saint Venerable, House Saint Venerable, and Slaughter Saint Venerable appeared at the same time. The three stood side by side, like a wall, blocking between Lin Moyu and Sword Saint Venerable. Heaven Saint Venerable lowered his voice, what's going on? Sword Saint Venerable retracted her sword intent, this little guy wants to fight me. Facing Heaven Saint Venerable, Sword Saint Venerable's tone was slightly softer, but only slightly. Heaven Saint Venerable looked at Lin Moyu, his eyes questioning what had happened. Slaughter Saint Venerable gave a thumbs up, good job, you're the first one to dare to challenge this woman. Sword Saint Venerable raised her sword-like eyebrows, old Slaughter, are you itching for a beating? Slaughter Saint Venerable chuckled, what if I'm itchy, you can't hit me anyway. I can't afford to offend you, but I can hide. Slaughter Saint Venerable's skin was so thick that Lin Moyu sometimes really doubted if this guy was a Saint Venerable, how could a Saint Venerable be so shameless? House Saint Venerable said, I think there must be a misunderstanding. Lin Moyu said, I just want to see my sister. Sword Saint Venerable immediately said, I said, the bloodline between you will disturb her. Lin Moyu lowered his voice, I can leave, but after my sister finishes cultivating, I need to come and see her. If she doesn't want to go with you, you can't take her away. Sword Saint Venerable sneered, you're just a small divine venerable, is it your place to make decisions? Lin Moyu didn't show any weakness, you can try. Heaven Saint Venerable roughly knew what was going on after hearing this, all right. He looked at Lin Moyu, I promise you this, if Lin Mohan doesn't want to go with her, I guarantee she can't take Lin Mohan away. Sword Saint Venerable's face instantly turned gloomy, her eyes staring at Heaven Saint Venerable like swords, are you planning to stand up for this kid? Heaven Saint Venerable didn't show any weakness, she is Lin Moyu's sister, and you are not qualified to make decisions for others. Although you are a Saint Venerable, Saint Venerables also have to follow the rules. We used to let you have your way, but not this time. Heaven Saint Venerable directly stated his position, he stood on Lin Moyu's side. Holy Saint Sovereign said in a low voice, Heavenly Saint Sovereign is right, you really can't be so willful this time. Slaughter Saint Sovereign chuckled, did you hear that? Do you understand what we mean? Sword Saint Sovereign's eyes flickered, although she has low EQ and speaks without reservation, she is not an idiot. In fact, an idiot could not possibly cultivate to the Saint Sovereign level. In the current situation, she has already seen some clues. This God Sovereign named Lin Moyu is not simple, otherwise the three Saint Sovereigns would not support him. Moreover, he dares to challenge her, besides being arrogant and ignorant, there may be other reasons. Sword Saint Sovereign looked at the sky, come with me, let's talk alone. Heavenly Saint Sovereign nodded, okay. Saying that, the two of them rose into the air together and disappeared. Holy Saint Sovereign smiled, it's okay, let Heavenly Saint Sovereign persuade her. Slaughter Saint Sovereign chuckled, actually, that woman has already softened, but she can't save face, so she wants to chat with Heavenly Saint Sovereign privately, actually to find a way out. Remember, don't ask Heavenly Saint Sovereign what she said to her, after all, she is a Saint Sovereign, give her some face. Lin Moyu nodded, I understand. Slaughter Saint Sovereign looked Lin Moyu up and down, became a God Sovereign, and your strength has also become stronger, by the way, can you beat a Saint Sovereign? Lin Moyu shook his head, and said very straightforwardly, I can't beat one. Slaughter Saint Sovereign was stunned, and shouted strangely, you can't beat one, yet you dare to fight her. Lin Moyu looked indifferent, she doesn't dare to do anything to me. Ah, Slaughter Saint Sovereign didn't believe it, that woman doesn't recognize her own family when she fights. Once she goes crazy, she dares to chop even her own father, do you believe it? Lin Moyu said, she wants to accept my sister as a disciple, so she doesn't dare to touch me. Holy Saint Sovereign laughed, that's true, she really doesn't dare to touch you. These days, Lin Mohan has been cultivating here, and Sword Saint Sovereign has been protecting her. She really values Lin Mohan and wants Lin Mohan to become her successor. She even lowered her face and personally went to Sword Orchid God Sovereign, and obtained Sword Orchid God Sovereign's consent. Lin Moyu said, I understand, but no matter what, it must be with my sister's consent. If my sister doesn't agree, even if she is a Saint Sovereign, it won't work. Holy Saint Sovereign could see his determination from Lin Moyu's attitude. Although the two siblings are separated a lot, their relationship is extremely deep. Even though they are far apart, their relationship has not weakened at all. Perhaps only this kind of relationship can maintain the cause and effect between each other, and maintain blood resonance. Blood resonance is a very magical phenomenon. If the relationship between the two siblings fades, the blood resonance will also disappear. After a while, Heavenly Saint Sovereign and Sword Saint Sovereign returned. Sword Saint Sovereign didn't say a word, glanced at Lin Moyu and then turned and left. Heavenly Saint Sovereign smiled, okay, I've talked to her, when your sister finishes cultivating, she will respect her opinion and will not force her. Lin Moyu was still very relieved about Heavenly Saint Sovereign, thank you, Senior. Heavenly Saint Sovereign continued, but Sword Saint Sovereign is also right, you being here will indeed affect Lin Mohan's cultivation, your siblings will have a connection. So, it's better for you to leave. 890 Lin Mohan is already a high-level God Sovereign, it looks like she is about to reach the 8th level, it's best not to disturb her. Lin Moyu also understood this principle, and looked at Lin Mohan again. He found that when he looked at Lin Mohan's eyelids would twitch slightly, as if she felt something. Lin Moyu withdrew his gaze, let's go. The siblings have a deep relationship, and now they both have their own things to do. There will be plenty of time to reunite in the future, so there is no need to rush. With a little reluctance, Lin Moyu left without saying a word, following Heavenly Saint Sovereign and others, and returned to the Central Divine Palace. Sit down. Several Saint Sovereigns took their seats, and Lin Moyu also sat down in the seat he had sat in before. Lin Moyu found that Rune Saint Sovereign was no longer here, and asked about it. Rune Saint Sovereign had gone to study rune arrays. He wanted to draw a rune array that could identify the spirit-devouring race, which was very difficult but not impossible. Lin Moyu first asked about the spirit-devouring race. In the few days he broke through, the human race could not be idle, and there must be some action. As he thought, the human race had indeed begun to investigate. With the Human Emperor Network as the general command, the efficiency of the human race was extremely high. Heavenly Saint Sovereign pointed his finger, and a star map suddenly opened. The star map was the star map of the entire human race star field, and also included the 4 major battlefields. Lin Moyu saw that there was a hazy dotted line surrounding the entire human race star field. Moreover, the closer it was to the human race divine city, the clearer the dotted line became. Chapter 1888. Is 100 million high-level God Sovereigns enough? The dotted line in the star map represents the range covered by the Human Emperor Network. Lin Moyu immediately perked up, he knew how much gold content this star map had. The Human Emperor Network can be said to be the most important core of the human race at present, it monitors every corner of the human race. It also shoulders the mission of training the human race, which is extremely important. People know that the Human Emperor Network covers the entire human race star field, but they don't know the real coverage area. Where is strong, where is weak, whether there are loopholes, are not clear. This star map completely shows the coverage of the human emperor network without any omissions. In the 4 battlefields outside the human race star field, there is a very small area covered by dotted lines. The dotted lines are very faint, indicating that the power of the human emperor network here is not strong. The fact is indeed the case. Lin Moyu has felt the power of the human emperor network in the battlefield. It is indeed not very strong. Then there are the 4 major star fields. The power of the human emperor network gradually strengthens. The closer to the divine city, the stronger the human emperor network becomes. Heavenly Saint Sovereign said, "We have temporarily closed the exits of the human race star field, including the battlefields. Everyone is only allowed to enter and not allowed to exit. Everyone who comes back must make a great world oath. Doing so is not very safe, but it is the only way at present. The production of the truth pill has not kept up. We have already sent more people, and the production is increasing exponentially. After a while, the production of the truth pill can reach 1 million pills per day. According to the plan, after 1 year, the production of the truth pill should be able to reach 100 million pills per day, and this is not the upper limit. It can continue to increase. Once this behemoth of the human race moves, it is quite terrifying to do one thing with all its strength. Just how many alchemists there are in the divine city star field, whether they are excellent or ordinary, that is definitely an astronomical number. To fully carry out the refining of the truth pill, the real worry is whether the materials can keep up. Since Heavenly Saint Sovereign said it so confidently, then there must be no problem with the materials. The truth pills currently owned have been distributed to some god sovereigns in the divine city star field. Lin Moyu heard the slight change in Heavenly Saint Sovereign's tone, found a few, backquote. Heavenly Saint Sovereign sighed, currently, 8 have been discovered in the divine city star field. 8, this number is not small. But looking at the population base of the human race, it doesn't seem to be too many. Heavenly Saint Sovereign continued, among the 8, 2 are actually high-level god sovereigns, and they are also the patriarchs of a certain family. The 8 people come from 8 different families. Lin Moyu estimated, this ratio is still normal. After all, the spirit-devouring race has been dormant for 100,000 years. It would be abnormal if they couldn't infiltrate. As long as there aren't any in the other shore realm, then it's not a problem. And as the investigation continues to deepen, there will definitely be more. I guess, there won't be too many spirit-devouring race in the divine city. The 4 major star fields and battlefields are the hardest hit areas. Heavenly Saint Sovereign looked serious. Your guess is very similar to the analysis of the human emperor network. In the divine city, the power of the human emperor network is strong enough. As soon as these people were discovered, they were controlled by the human emperor network and did not cause any major damage. And the human emperor network has also conducted all-round surveillance of the families they are in, so there won't be any problems. However, when we get to the 4 great star domains and the quadrant battlefield in the future, things might get troublesome. The human emperor network can't fully control them. Once they're discovered, they might cause massive destruction. You have to understand, a divine lord going mad can destroy several star systems. This is the current problem we're facing. First of all, the production of truth pills is increasing, and the number of people taking them will also increase. Once the God City star domain is screened, it will spread to the 4 great star domains. When the human emperor network's control is reduced, the heart-devouring demons that are discovered are very likely to go mad, causing a great deal of disaster. Not to mention a divine lord, even a divine king going crazy and self-destructing can blow up a planet. Everyone on the entire planet will be buried with them. The solution is actually very simple, which is to slow down the screening speed and send a large number of divine lords to follow. However, this will create new problems. There are too many humans. Once the screening speed is reduced, the time spent will increase significantly. The Human Emperor Network has calculated that if things go ideally, it will take humans 10 to 15 years to complete the screening. If the screening speed is slowed down, it may take 50 or even 100 years. Extending the timeline will affect the race in all aspects, and the cost is not small. Lin Mo thought for a moment. In the end, we're still short of manpower. If there were enough divine lords, this problem could be completely solved. Heavenly Saint Lord said, that's right, in the end, it's a shortage of manpower, especially a severe shortage of high-level divine lords. Lin Mo asked, what about the divine lords in the military and the Hall of War Gods? Can't they be moved? Heavenly Saint Lord shook his head, they have their own matters. In fact, even if we include them, it may not be enough. Lin Mo thought for a moment, what do you think about this? With a thought, a Death Dragon Knight appeared in the hall. The Death Dragon Knight exuded the aura of a high-level Divine Lord, looking ferocious and powerful. Both the skeletal giant dragon and the Death Knight on it were terrifying enough. But it emitted a pure white light, giving people a sense of holiness. The combination of the two feelings was very strange. Holy Lord Hao looked at the Death Dragon Knight. You mean, use him to replace a Divine Lord? Lin Mo said, of course not completely replace. I believe our human race has enough Divine Lords, but their strength varies. Some low-level Divine Lords are not enough to control the situation. The Death Dragon Knight has the combat power of a high-level Divine Lord. I'll give you temporary command. If anything happens, let it take action. Don't worry, it's very obedient. If you tell it to go east, it will definitely not go west. Heavenly Saint Lord thought about this possibility, his eyes gradually lighting up. It seems feasible. How many Death Dragon Knights like this do you have? They knew that Lin Mo's summons were many, but they didn't know exactly how many. Lin Mo held out a finger. Killing Saint Lord screamed on the spot, 1 million. Holy Lord Hao glared at him, you haven't seen Lin Xiaoyu's summons before, it should be 10 million. Heavenly Saint Lord's eyes lit up with joy, if it's 10 million, that's almost enough. After all, the Divine Lords who have been screened and confirmed to be okay can become our manpower. Even when we reach the Divine King stage, we don't need to reduce the screening speed too much. Lin Mo shook his head, not 10 million, it's 100 million. Thump, several Saint Lords stood up at the same time, their expressions filled with unconcealable shock. 100 million summons equivalent to high-level Divine Lords, there are actually 100 million. The human race is so large, but it can't produce 100 million high-level Divine Lords. Not to mention 100 million high-level Divine Lords, they can't even produce 100 million Divine Lords. The corner of Killing Saint Lord's mouth twitched, so many high-level Divine Lords, if other races knew about it, they would be scared out of their wits. Holy Lord Hao's expression was also a little unnatural. Even if several strong races are added together, they may not be able to produce so many Divine Lords. Heavenly Saint Lord's eyes were filled with murderous intent. In this case, it seems that we only lack top combat power. Holy Lord Hao sighed, now it seems that we are the ones holding back. Everyone understood this and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Chapter 1889, Advancement to 6th Order Rune Master. With Lin Mo's existence, the backbone is already sufficient. As long as their Saint Lords in the Beyond Realm can be more helpful, they can now push all races horizontally. But it's not possible, they don't have enough numbers. The human race has 6 Saint Lords and nearly 100 Beyond Realm experts. It looks like a lot, more than any other race. But if all the major races are added together, they still exceed the human race by a lot. Unless the human race also finds other races to cooperate with, just like this time when they wiped out the Buddha race. But there are differences between the two. This time, the Starry Sky Fishmen and the Buddha race were destroyed together, and both sides had their own interests and could obtain a lot of benefits from it. If they go to war with other races, there may not be any benefits. The Starry Sky Fishmen are unlikely to agree. Even if they win, how many people will the entire race have to die, and how much will they have to pay? There is a gap between their strength and the human race. What if the human race turns its spear and attacks them afterward? The struggle between races, in addition to being cruel, has many factors and is very complicated. Moreover, the human race must now guard against other races uniting to attack them. After all, everyone is afraid that they will be the next Buddha race, and with the previous generations of hatred, it is not impossible to join forces. In this way, the human race will face the siege of a large number of races. However, the human race and the Starry Sky Fishmen have an agreement that if other races join forces to attack the human race, they will help. Fortunately, the appearance of the soul-devouring race disrupted their rhythm, making it impossible for them to form a coalition army for the time being. Without eliminating internal troubles, how can there be a coalition army? The efficiency of various races in screening the soul-devouring race is certainly not as good as that of the human race without the Human Emperor Network. It is impossible to complete the screening without decades. These decades are enough for the human race to do many things. The Saint Lords are as clear as a mirror in their hearts. In addition to preparing according to the plan, they also have another possibility, which is to wait for Lin Mo to grow up. As long as Lin Mo can maintain his previous growth rate, his summons can also grow together, and it is not difficult for the human race to unify the great world. And Lin Mo's growth can also promote Lin Mohan's growth. The two have bloodline resonance, killing two birds with one stone. After some discussion, this matter was finally handed over to the Human Emperor Network for unified command. No one is more suitable for this task than the Human Emperor Network. Lin Mo summoned all the Death Dragon Knights and gave them instructions that all actions must be followed by distribution. The Death Dragon Knights have no intelligence and no independent consciousness. But they can understand human speech. After Lin Mo issues an order, they can act according to the instructions. Each Death Dragon Knight will be accompanied by a human cultivator to act together. The Human Emperor Network issues instructions from the human cultivator, and then the human cultivator issues instructions to the Death Dragon Knight. After some running in, it was found that there was no problem with the cooperation between them. Only 2 days later, the entire action plan was officially launched. The God City became busy, with people constantly coming to the God City, and then leaving with the Death Dragon Knights. Most of the people who came were Divine Lords, and they were all Divine Lords who had been screened and confirmed to have no problems. It's like a big net, starting from the God City as the center, spreading towards the entire human race. This action seemed slow at first, but as time went on, the speed would become faster and faster. According to the Human Emperor Network's calculations, about 10 years will be enough to complete 95% of the screening. The remaining 5% are the humans who are still outside the territory. When they come back, they will be checked one by one to make sure there are no problems before they can return to the human race. Since the investigation began, everyone has been forbidden from leaving the human race star region. Now, if anyone tries to leave, they are definitely not from the soul-devouring race and can be killed on the spot without negotiation. This time, the Holy Sovereigns have issued an iron order that no one can disobey. Under the order of allowing entry but not exit, the human race's forces on the battlefield have also begun to shrink, cooperating with this major investigation. Not only the human race, but all races are doing similar things, and the great world has become quiet for a time. Every race is extremely busy internally. Even Death Dragon Knights were conscripted, and Lin Mo temporarily had no plans to go to the secret realm. He also had things to do. He wanted to upgrade the Golden Armor Talisman to give it stronger defensive capabilities. The Golden Armor Talisman was not a whim of Lin Mo. Lin Mo has long-term plans for the Golden Armor Talisman. As his realm improves and his rune skills become stronger, he can continuously upgrade the Golden Armor Talisman. Moreover, his idea of using rune arrays to mass-produce runes automatically is the most suitable method for him. When his realm improved this time, he took the opportunity of the sublimation of spells to carefully observe the runes of the great world and gained a lot of insights. Insights are just insights, and they need to be transformed into results through practice. In addition to improving the runes, he also needs to comprehend new laws. After thinking about it, Lin Mo plans to comprehend the laws of space and time together. Star-Lord's method of merging laws gave Lin Mo inspiration. It seems that various laws can be merged with each other to form more powerful forces. Moreover, he also has the little guy open black lens bracket infinite fusion close black lens bracket, which gives him a unique advantage in merging laws. It would be a waste not to make good use of this advantage. Lin Mo asked for a cultivation room and sat in it alone, undisturbed by anyone. Apart from Lin Mo's own heartbeat and the sound of blood flowing, there was no other sound in the cultivation room. Lin Mo thought about his cultivation path. It seemed that most of the time he was busy and running around. Whether in the small world or the great world, from the human race star region to the battlefield to the divine city star region, it was the same. He wanted to rest properly several times, but something happened after only 2 days of rest. A self-deprecating smile appeared in Lin Mo's eyes. It seems that I am really destined to be a busy person. In self-deprecation, his consciousness flew away and entered the Human Emperor Network, arriving at the Rune Master Association. The Rune Master Association's pagoda stands tall in the Human Emperor Network, seeming real and illusory, difficult to distinguish. The Human Emperor Network has constructed a unique world that makes it difficult to distinguish between reality and illusion, and this power alone is enough to amaze people. Compared to the Supreme's rule world, the virtual world constructed by the Human Emperor Network is many times stronger. Lin Mo came directly to the 5th floor of the Rune Master Association's pagoda, and with a thought, he said, "Promote to 6th Order Rune Master." Open black lens bracket after detection, you meet the promotion requirements, and the certification will now be opened for you. Close black lens bracket. Lin Mo immediately received a response from the Human Emperor Network, and then his eyes blurred and he entered an independent space. A familiar examination room, with a void in front of him. Open black lens bracket 6th Order Rune Master Certification Requirements. Please draw 100 advanced runes within the specified time. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket total time limit, 60,000 seconds. The certification now begins. Close black lens bracket. A huge countdown timer appeared in front of him, displaying a number. 60,000, 59,999, 59,998. As the reminder sound fell, the countdown began. Lin Mo began to draw runes calmly. His speed of drawing runes was astonishingly fast, far exceeding the examination requirements. Lin Mo's fingers transformed into countless afterimages, using his finger as a pen and his soul as ink, and a rune was quickly generated. In just 5 seconds, an advanced rune flew out from his fingertips. The examination requirement was 1 rune every 600 seconds, but Lin Mo only used 5 seconds. The difference between them was too great. If a 6th Order Rune Master were to observe, they would definitely be ashamed. Chapter 1890. Dual-minded, drawing runes with both hands. One by one, advanced runes flew out from his fingertips, staying in the void and shining brightly. Lin Mo did not wait for the Human Emperor Network to verify the runes, he had full confidence in his rune drawing technique. Advanced runes were impossible to go wrong. The countdown continued, and more runes appeared in the void. Different runes flickered with different colors, illuminating the entire void beautifully. Finally, after the 100th rune flew out, Lin Mo stopped. When the Human Emperor Network finished verifying, the countdown was exactly fixed at 59,500. 100 advanced runes, used 500 seconds, no more, no less. The Human Emperor Network quickly sent information. Open black lens bracket certification is over, congratulations on successfully passing the certification. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket congratulations, you have become a 6th Order Rune Master. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket after detection, your speed has exceeded the highest record for 6th Order Rune Master certification in history, and you will receive an additional reward. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you want to challenge a higher record? If successful, the additional reward will be doubled. Close black lens bracket. During the 5th Order Rune Master certification, there seemed to be similar information. If I remember correctly, I was rewarded with 1,000 Divine City merits and access to view 6th Order Rune Master information. If I succeed in this challenge as well, I estimate that the rewarded Divine City merits will be more, and there may also be access to view 7th Order Rune Master information. The attraction of Divine City merits to Lin Mo is far less than the attraction of 7th Order Rune Master information. 7th Order Rune Master information is exactly the purpose of Lin Mo's trip. Since this is the case, there is no reason for him not to challenge. Challenge. With a thought, he decided to take on the challenge. The countdown in the void turned into a forward timer, and at the same time, the scene of Lin Mo preparing to challenge the 6th Order Rune Master record began to be broadcast live to all Rune Masters. No matter where the Rune Master was, as long as they were in the area covered by the Human Emperor Network, they could directly watch this challenge. In an instant, countless Rune Masters poured in. It's Lin Mo again. I remember he was the one who challenged last time. He has actually been promoted to 6th Order Rune Master, his speed is too fast. What is this? With his attainments in runes, he has already reached the 6th Order Rune Master level, but he did not have enough Divine City merits at the time, so he could not upgrade. Master Lin's ability is beyond doubt. His ability is not only that of a 6th Order Rune Master, even those high-level Rune Masters are not as good as him. Indeed, 3 seconds for an advanced rune, I ask, how many high-level Rune Masters can do that? This is Master Lin. Last time he entered a state of enlightenment, I also gained a lot from it. Countless people poured in to watch Lin Mo's challenge. Not only those low and middle-level Rune Masters, but also many high-level Rune Masters were attracted by this news. One by one, high-level Rune Masters connected to the Human Emperor Network and came in to watch Lin Mo's challenge. Rune Saint Venerable, as the president of the Rune Master Association, naturally received the news. If someone else was challenging, he might be too lazy to take a look. Knowing that Lin Mo is challenging, he immediately put down his research and came to watch. He knew very well that he was able to be promoted to Saint Venerable also because of Lin Mo's contribution. Lin Mo's talent in runes is amazing. Watching his challenge, he might gain something again. Lin Mo did not know how many people were watching his challenge, even if he knew, he would not care. After the challenge was issued, he waited for a full 5 minutes before new changes appeared in the void. All the runes drawn before disappeared, and the void returned to its deepness. The countdown also changed accordingly, becoming 6,000 seconds. That is to say, the time for the entire challenge is 10 minutes. Immediately following this, Lin Mo received a notification from the Human Emperor Network. Tier 6 Rune Master, Rune Drawing Challenge. Rules: within 6,000 seconds, draw as many high-level runes as possible. Runes can be repeated. The final score will be determined by the number of runes. The higher the score, the richer the additional rewards. Now, the challenge begins. The countdown suddenly began, changing from 6,000 to 5,999. Lin Mo reacted extremely quickly. As soon as the countdown started, he began drawing runes. His fingers danced in the void like phantoms, so fast that they left behind a large number of afterimages. Soul power flowed from his fingertips, turning into ink, and drawing high-level runes. Each high-level rune contained its own unique ability and was extremely complex. But in Lin Mo's hands, it only took 3 seconds to complete, 2 seconds faster than when he was serious. Then, several more runes flew out, also taking 3 seconds each. Lin Mo's performance elicited different reactions from the viewers. Some were excited and cheered for Lin Mo. But some felt that Lin Mo had reached his limit, and even showed a hint of disdain. After all, in the previous challenge, Lin Mo's speed was 1 rune every 3 seconds, and it hadn't increased. In other words, Lin Mo hadn't improved during this time, which was disappointing. It's a pity, he hasn't improved for so long, it seems he has reached his limit. Isn't 1 every 3 seconds fast enough? These are high-level runes, I can't draw 1 in 10 minutes. Seeking fresh flowers 0. Everyone has different requirements. For a genius like Lin Mo, 1 every 3 seconds isn't fast. Where is it not fast? At least he's invincible among tier 6 rune masters. Those who are faster than him are all high-level rune masters, but they are only faster by a fraction of a second at most. I remember, the current highest record is 1 every 2 seconds, right? That's right, that was the record set by my ancestor. So you are a member of the Shu family, my respects. May I ask, when the Shu family ancestor set the record, what tier rune master was he, and what was his realm? The ancestor was at the peak of God Venerate, a tier 9 rune master at the time. No wonder, this Shu family disciple immediately realized that he had said something wrong. He was actually talking about his ancestor's achievement when he was at the peak of God Venerate and a tier 9 rune master. 0. In this way, it would naturally not be accepted. What realm was Lin Mo in? Only a tier 6 rune master. Being able to do this was unprecedented. Lin Mo was single-minded, diligently drawing runes. His speed became faster and faster, gradually exceeding 3 seconds, reaching 2.9 seconds per rune. Then it sped up a bit more, reaching 2.8 seconds per rune. The speed is still a bit slow, no improvement compared to the last time. Without an increase in realm, 2.8 seconds is already the limit, it can't be improved further. If you want to continue to improve, you can only try this method. Lin Mo also knew that he had entered a bottleneck. Compared to the improvement of realm, the improvement of rune drawing speed was much slower. However, Lin Mo also thought of a solution. After drawing a rune, his right hand suddenly stopped. Then his left hand slowly lifted. The change in Lin Mo's movements attracted everyone's attention. Why did he suddenly stop? Is he not planning to challenge anymore? Is he going to give up? Give up my ass, he has already succeeded in the challenge, it's just a matter of how good the score is. I guess the Human Emperor Network must have told him that the better the score, the more rewards. That's normal, I'm asking, why did he suddenly stop? He didn't stop, but is thinking of another way. Look at his left hand, it's also raised. Lin Mo's gaze became sharp in an instant, and both hands began to dance together. Both hands drew runes at the same time, and drew different runes at that. Everyone was stunned. Someone exclaimed, it's multitasking, drawing runes with both hands. Chapter 1891. Breaking Cognition, Breaking Imagination. Many people widened their eyes, looking at Lin Mo with an incredibly shocked expression. It's really drawing runes with both hands. To be able to use this legendary rune drawing method, Master Lin is amazing. Indeed amazing, but the speed doesn't seem to have increased, it seems he's not very proficient. Don't worry, I believe Master Lin will get faster and faster. Lin Mo was multitasking, drawing runes with both hands at the same time, and drawing completely different runes at that. However, the drawing speed also decreased, much slower than when drawing with one hand. Lin Mo used amazing control to ensure that there were no mistakes in his left and right hands, and completed the runes. Two completely different runes were completed and flew out almost at the same time. Then Lin Mo continued to draw, his hands flying, moving faster and more skilled. Lin Mo quickly got used to multitasking, runes flew out in pairs, and the speed also exceeded before. 5 seconds a pair, not much faster. 560. Lin Mo was multitasking drawing runes, and at the same time had the energy to think about other things. Under multitasking, his drawing speed increased to 5 seconds a pair of runes, averaging 2.5 seconds each. Compared to the previous 2.8 seconds each, it was indeed a bit faster, but the improvement was not particularly large, and did not reach expectations. Lin Mo's eyes were thoughtful, I can try to go a step further. Soul power surged, and a virtual hand appeared beside him. This hand was completely composed of soul power, exuding a powerful aura. After the big hand appeared, it also joined the ranks of drawing runes, drawing with 3 hands at the same time. The people watching exclaimed in unison, God, using soul power to condense a hand, drawing with 3 hands together. Under multitasking, he still has spare energy, this is too terrifying. I have to concentrate all my attention to draw a rune, not daring to be distracted in the slightest. Master Lin is actually multitasking. Is this the difference between genius and ordinary people like us? It's too discouraging, I knew I wouldn't come to see it. Acknowledge the gap, work hard, and you will have the opportunity to catch up. That's right, only by seeing the top of the mountain, knowing where the real peak is, can you have the opportunity to climb up. Lin Mo's behavior aroused a group of people's unwillingness to admit defeat. He was like a benchmark, standing on the top of the mountain, becoming the goal for others to catch up. Everyone who can become a rune master is a genius, and has arrogance. They were hit hard, and most people's first reaction was not to be discouraged, but to strive to catch up. They would feel that if you can do it, so can I. Everyone is human, nothing is impossible. Lin Mo was multitasking, drawing runes. At first, the speed of drawing runes decreased again, and with the improvement of proficiency, it steadily increased again. Finally, it stabilized at 1 set every 7 seconds, and the average drawing speed of each rune was less than 2.4 seconds. It's an improvement over multitasking. This is still under the premise of ensuring that each rune is perfect, otherwise the speed can be even faster. Keeping the runes perfect is the most basic pursuit of every rune master, and Lin Mo you will not abandon the basics. It seems like there's still energy to spare, or else try multitasking with 4 minds. See if we can push it down to 2 seconds per rune. Lin Mo you felt that he still had energy to spare and could continue to divide his attention to draw runes. He was able to do this because his soul was strong enough, and he had used the soul calming technique time and time again, so he was used to multitasking. Lin Mo yu's mind moved, and a second soul hand appeared beside him. Left and right hands, plus 2 soul hands, 4 hands began to draw runes together. Multitasking with 4 minds. Everyone was stunned. Multitasking with 2 minds was already an unattainable dream for ordinary people. The previous multitasking with 3 minds was already a legend. Unexpectedly, now there is even multitasking with 4 minds. Lin Mo yu shattered other people's cognition time and time again, breaking other people's imagination. At this moment, even Rune Sage Venerable couldn't help but want to swear. Even he could only do multitasking with 3 minds at most. After holding back for a long time, he came up with 4 words, what a pervert. Under multitasking with 4 minds, the speed decreased again, and after getting familiar with it, it steadily increased again. Finally, the speed of drawing runes reached 8 seconds per set. On average, each rune took exactly 2 seconds. Lin Mo yu knew that this was his true limit. Unless he had a further understanding of the way of runes, it would be impossible to improve for the time being. 2 seconds for a rune, this speed should not be slower than those high-level rune masters. Lin Mo yu muttered to himself. His muttering also fell into the ears of the audience, and countless high-level rune masters blushed. Putting aside everything else, just in terms of drawing speed, they were ashamed of themselves. The 600-second countdown ended, and Lin Moyu completed 256 runes. The average was 2.34 seconds per rune. Lin Moyu thought to himself, it should be fine, right? He didn't know the speed of other 6th order rune masters and couldn't compare. If the challenge could be done again, starting with multitasking with 4 minds, 600 seconds would be enough to draw 300 runes. Lin Moyu planned to see how things were, and if this challenge was not successful, he would try again. After waiting for half a minute, the Human Emperor Network brought the results. Congratulations on the successful challenge, an additional reward of 10,000 points of Divine City merit, and access to 7th Order Rune Master information. Lin Moyu looked at the rewards, which were not bad. After thinking for a while, he gave up on challenging again. The most important reward had already been obtained, so there was no need to continue tossing around. After his challenge was successful, the live broadcast was also closed. The scene in front of him changed, and Lin Moyu returned to the Rune Master Association Pagoda. He was standing on the 6th floor, the area belonging to the 6th Order Rune Masters. Many people around him cast admiring glances. Junior brother Lin, congratulations on becoming a 6th Order Rune Master. Multitasking with 4 minds, admirable, admirable. Junior brother Lin's talent in the way of runes is really enviable. More than that, Junior brother Lin's ability to clear secret realms is not weaker than the way of runes at all. Junior brother Lin has just become a 6th Order Rune Master. If there is anything you don't understand, just ask, we can still help Junior brother Lin with some common sense things. Everyone expressed their goodwill, and they all looked very friendly. Rune Masters are often scholars in many cases. Their tempers are often not bad, and people with bad tempers generally cannot become Rune Masters. Lin Moyu also greeted with a smile, and after a while of greetings, everyone began their own learning and research. The 6th floor area returned to silence again. Lin Moyu chose an empty corner, sat cross-legged, and began to check the information of the 7th Order Rune Masters. Like the Divine Venerable 5.7, starting from the 7th Order, Rune Masters are also called high-level Rune Masters. The difference between high-level Rune Masters and ordinary Rune Masters is no longer limited to drawing runes, but to start mastering deeper applications. At this time, the 7th Order Rune Master faces multiple choices, which can be roughly divided into 2 directions. The first direction is to fuse runes, fusing multiple runes together, and finally achieving the function of multiple runes with 1 rune. The second direction is to combine runes, using multiple runes to combine with each other to exert various functions, which is the rune array in other people's mouths. Generally, Rune Masters will choose one of the 2 to cultivate. Of course, there are also people who cultivate both together, but that will be relatively slower to improve. This choice should be made after becoming a 6th Order Rune Master and mastering all advanced runes. Lin Moyu didn't think about it carefully at all, and after reading the basic information, he decided to cultivate both together. Using fused runes to arrange rune arrays is the most perfect way to do it. Chapter 1892. Fusing Runes, High Difficulty Start. Lin Moyu had seen ancient runes in extremely complex rune arrays. He knew very well that no matter which path he chose, the result would be wrong. The way of runes is said to be the fastest way to the runes of the great world. But similarly, it is not easy to walk. Everyone knows that all paths lead to Rome, but in fact, the way of runes is not like this. If you want to go to the end of the way of runes, you must walk both paths together, and integrate them, so that you can finally form ancient runes. Lin Moyu had seen many ancient runes. Without exception, the ancient runes contained a large number of fused runes. These runes included basic runes and advanced runes. They were fused together, and they were combined into runes. Then a large number of rune arrays were combined with each other, intertwined together, forming more complex runes. Finally, these runes and the fused runes were nested with each other, forming an extremely complex and extremely powerful rune. This kind of rune is called an ancient rune. The sages of the ancient times had actually explored the way forward. Lin Moyu had seen that kind of road, so he knew very well how to go. At least before reaching the end, he didn't need to think too much. He only needed to keep moving forward along the path that the ancients had walked. There is a lot of information about 7th Order Rune Masters, as vast as the sea. Lin Moyu was immersed in it and could not extricate himself. In fact, the cultivation of Rune Masters is like this. half the time is spent reading information, and half the time is spent drawing runes. Time passed day by day, and in the blink of an eye, Lin Moyu had been in the Rune Master Association Pagoda for 100 days. In 100 days, he did not move, constantly checking various rune information. This information explained the fusion methods of runes, which runes can be fused with each other, and where the key points of fusion techniques are, all explained. Many are the experiences of predecessors, which are very helpful to Lin Moyu. In 100 days, Lin Moyu basically read all the information of the 7th Order Rune Masters. In his mind, he also drew a list. Which runes can be fused with each other, why they can be fused, and how to fuse them, all have a general idea. With ideas, the next step is to verify. On the 101st day, Lin Moyu threw away all the information and began to act. Verification is the step of transforming what you have learned into reality. On the 6th floor of the Rune Master Association Pagoda, Lin Moyu sat there, waving his fingers casually, and drew an advanced rune. A cyan advanced rune appeared in front of Lin Moyu, and a breeze blew in the pagoda. Most people were focused on their own research and didn't notice the slight breeze. But some people felt the breeze, but didn't care. They knew someone was testing runes, which was common, and no one would care as long as it wasn't too excessive. Sometimes, when you understand something, it's normal to test it out. The rune that Lin Mo drew was the general outline of the wind-type runes. It can be further broken down into various wind-type runes. There can be a sharp wind, making the wind as sharp as a knife. It can also be a gentle wind, making the wind as gentle as a lover. Almost everything about the wind is in this general outline rune, but it itself has no power. Lin Mo didn't want to break it down, but to fuse it. The first step, let's have a flame wind. Lin Mo thought to himself and drew another rune. This time the rune was a fire rune, but not a high-level rune, but a basic rune. The basic fire rune has no power, at most it can only make a fire. When the red fire rune appeared, it only increased the temperature of the nearby area, and there was no other effect. Lin Mo's soul moved, wrapping the two runes and using the soul as a bridge to fuse them. The fusion of high-level runes and basic runes has actually surpassed most rune masters. Most rune masters choose to fuse two basic runes at the beginning of rune fusion, and then slowly improve. Few people are like Lin Mo, using high-level runes from the start. Lin Mo has his own experience in the 100 days of study. He knows that the key to rune fusion is the soul. His soul power is strong enough to facilitate rune fusion to a certain extent. What's more, even if it fails, there will be no loss, so it's harmless to try. With this mentality, Lin Mo decisively chose to fuse a high-level rune with a basic rune as the beginning, and started his great rune fusion. The two runes approached each other, using soul power as a bridge to connect them together. Gradually, the wind became stronger and the temperature began to rise. The wind borrows the power of the fire, and the fire borrows the power of the wind. The two runes interacted with each other, and each began to strengthen. Lin Mo also felt resistance, and the two runes of different natures and levels seemed to be incompatible. They were repelling each other, refusing to get close to each other. But while rejecting each other, they were using each other's rune attributes to strengthen themselves. Mutual generation and mutual restraint is a hurdle that must be overcome in rune fusion. Using the soul as a bridge is the first step, and the second step is to suppress them with the soul and let them honestly merge. Lin Mo instantly increased his soul power and firmly suppressed the two runes. In a tough way, forcing them to accept each other. No matter how unwilling the two runes were, no matter their opposition, at this moment, Lin Mo had the final say. Lin Mo felt like he had become the emperor in some small world, and no one was allowed to object as long as he gave the marriage. The wind was getting stronger and the temperature was rising. There seemed to be flames in the space, wrapped in the strong wind, flying around. Finally, the rune masters were awakened and looked over with some displeasure. But when they saw that it was Lin Mo, they all lost their temper. Lin Mo is a real genius, so it's better not to offend him. When they saw what Lin Mo was doing, they all widened their eyes. God, junior brother Lin 457 has actually started to fuse runes. He just became a 6th order rune master, how could he start fusing runes so quickly? A genius cannot be measured by common sense. I think he has already mastered all the high-level and basic runes, and the certification of the 6th order rune master is just a process. I think so too. I felt strange when I saw him drawing runes before. How could a 6th order rune master have such a high level of proficiency? He actually chose to fuse a high-level rune with a basic rune. This is a high difficulty start. It is indeed a high difficulty start, but it should not be difficult for him. Two major directions. I didn't expect him to choose the rune fusion direction. His soul power is very strong, and it is not wrong to choose this direction. The 6th order rune masters were expressing their opinions. Lin Mo didn't care what they said. Now he is carefully feeling the information fed back from his soul power. His soul power is strong enough to forcibly fuse the runes. But this is only knowing what it is, and Lin Mo wants to know why it is. The two runes have different reactions during the process of getting closer, which can transmit a lot of information. Gradually, he had some insights. So that's it. The root of fusion should be in the frequency. As long as the frequencies are the same, they can be fused. Let's complete this fusion first, and then study it further next time. Lin Mo made up his mind, his soul power soared, and he forcibly squeezed the two runes together. Chapter 1893. The real soul power is a bridge. The storm stopped the moment the rune fusion was complete. Everything returned to normal, the temperature began to drop rapidly, and everything returned to normal. In Lin Mo's palm, a cyan red rune floated. The fused rune looked a little dazzling under the package of soul power. This is no longer a simple high-level rune, but a fusion rune. It no longer belongs to the category of high-level runes, but it is not clear what its level is. The fused rune may be much stronger than before the fusion, or it may become weaker. The fusion of two high-level runes may not be as good as a basic rune. It is also possible that the fusion of two basic runes can surpass high-level runes. This is how fusion runes are, seemingly with infinite possibilities. This is just the fusion of two runes, and then there will be the fusion of 3 or even 4 runes. According to the information, the highest human rune masters can currently do is to fuse 6 runes together. The creator of this record was the previous ancestor of the Shu family, who created it 60,000 years ago. The current ancestor of the Shu family has become a rune saint, but he still failed to beat the record of 6 rune fusions. Lin Mo carefully looked at the first rune he fused with his own hands, feeling the information transmitted back from the rune. Many nearby 6th order rune masters witnessed Lin Mo's rune fusion, and it was a high difficulty start, and it was directly successful for the first time. They were a little shocked, but because of Lin Mo's outstanding performance in the Rune Master Challenge before, they were psychologically prepared and quickly recovered. Sure enough, it was successful. Junior brother Lin is really amazing. Junior brother Lin's talent in runes is no less than his clearing the secret realm. I wonder if he can break the record of rune fusion if he continues to practice. I feel it is very possible. This kind of talent is unheard of. Lin Mo didn't hear anything outside the window at the moment, and only looked at the rune in his palm. His soul power firmly wrapped the fused rune, feeling its every bit. This fusion was forcibly completed by me with soul power, and it is not perfect. On the surface, it seems like 2 runes are fused together, but there are still many problems internally. This degree of fusion is at most no more than 50%. Backquote. If this kind of rune is placed in a formation, it will directly reduce the effect of the formation significantly. 1,000-mile dike is destroyed by an ant nest. This is not acceptable. Lin Mo Yu suddenly thought of a saying he had heard in his previous life. A small flaw may not seem like much at first glance, but a flaw is a flaw, and its existence is an unstable factor. At the same time, Lin Mo Yu also thought of the spell planet. The spell planet also had the concept of fusion. At that time, the spell planet was sublimated into a spell star, and then from a spell star to a white star. The whole process was also accompanied by the increase of fusion. There were many common points between the two. Lin Mo Yu suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and he understood a little. The real fusion shouldn't be like this, but... His palm shook slightly, dispersing the rune in his palm. Then he casually waved his finger and drew a cyan rune again. It was still the same as before, the general outline of the wind element rune. Then he drew a flame rune. The 2 runes were exactly the same as before. Lin Mo Yu wanted to start the second fusion according to his own understanding. His actions once again attracted the attention of others. Haven't these 2 runes already been successfully fused? Why did again? I don't know, is there something wrong with the fusion just now? It has already been successfully fused. Rune fusion is either success or failure. What could be the problem? Just because you think there is no problem, doesn't mean there really isn't a problem. A genius's thoughts are not something ordinary people like you and I can understand. That's right, just watch it, just treat it as observation and learning, the opportunity is rare. Someone has already spent points to have the human emperor network record Lin Moyu's behavior, fearing that they won't understand it once, so they can watch it repeatedly. There is more than one person doing this. Lin Moyu has now become a benchmark among rune masters. What he does will attract a lot of attention. When he was comprehending the Tao before, many people were influenced by him and gained inspiration. Many people call Lin Moyu Teacher Lin. Although there is no master-disciple relationship, there is the reality of a master-disciple relationship. Any action of Lin Moyu is naturally particularly eye-catching. Soul power flowed and entered the two runes at the same time. Rune fusion still requires soul power as a bridge, but this time Lin Moyu gave very little soul power, 10 times less than the previous time. This level of soul power cannot forcibly fuse the two runes. He has already confirmed that brute force is not right, what is needed now is skill. The sensitivity of soul power played an extremely important role at this moment. Lin Moyu found that after his soul power entered the rune, it immediately underwent a small change. This small change appeared in the frequency of the soul power. The soul power is not static, it has been vibrating at a certain frequency. When the soul power is strong, the vibration frequency is very high, very fast. When the soul power is weak, the vibration frequency will weaken and gradually slow down. The two strands of soul power output by Lin Moyu had the same intensity and the same vibration frequency. But after entering the rune, the vibration frequency of the two changed slightly. Most people cannot feel the vibration frequency of the soul, only people like Lin Moyu with extremely sensitive souls can feel it. The change in the vibration frequency also caused a slight change in the strength of the soul. This slight change may be less than 1%, but it is this slight change that prevents the two runes from completing the fusion. Those experienced rune masters will constantly try to adjust and accumulate experience, and finally complete the rune fusion with experience. And Lin Moyu can clearly feel the vibration frequency of the soul, so there is no need to be so troublesome. He changed the output intensity of the soul power little by little, so that the frequencies of the two tended to be consistent. This is a very delicate process that requires adjustment little by little. Especially the first time, Lin Moyu did it carefully. In the eyes of outsiders, after Lin Moyu output 2 strands of soul power, he sat there motionless, doing nothing. Diaresis, what is he doing? Why isn't he moving? I don't know, he seems to be observing these two runes. The runes have been completely mastered, what's so good about them, can you still see a flower? I don't understand, maybe only Teacher Lin himself knows. Although everyone was puzzled, no one asked questions. Rune masters have the most patience. After waiting for half an hour, Lin Moyu finally moved. After a meticulous perfectly adjustment, the soul power injected into the two runes finally reached the exact same vibration frequency. Lin Moyu maintained this state and began to bring the two runes closer to each other. The wind did not get stronger, and the temperature did not rise. The two runes fused together naturally. Everything was so natural, without any obstacles, as if the two runes were originally one. This is the real soul power as a bridge. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth curled up in a charming arc, and his eyes were full of brilliance. Above his palm, a fused rune slowly rotated. Cyan with red, beautiful. It seems that the fused rune seems to have texture, no longer illusory, like beautiful jade. No, not like beautiful jade, but really began to materialize, and in a blink of an eye it turned into a jade talisman. The whole scene suddenly became extremely silent, everyone stared blankly at the Jade Eyes Ed rune. No one spoke, but the shock in their eyes could not be hidden at all. Until a cry of surprise awakened everyone. Perfect fusion. Chapter 1894. He cannot be judged by common sense. Perfect fusion, this is a sacred word. At least in the minds of rune masters, this word represents various meanings such as power, talent, and incredible. In history, very few rune masters have been able to achieve perfect fusion. If it is done occasionally, it is only occasional and cannot be replicated. If it is 99% fusion and perfect fusion, there is only a 1% difference. For the entire rune, the difference is small. But perfect fusion is perfect fusion, it is a flawless existence. It is not about the size of the power, not about how powerful it is about the 4 words perfect fusion. All rune masters who can achieve perfect fusion will be recorded in history, Even if only once, they can be famous in history. Among the hundreds of 6th order rune masters present, many will choose the path of fusion runes in the future. Perfect fusion is their dream. As long as they can complete it once, they will have no regrets in this life. But Lin Moyu achieved perfect fusion in the second fusion of runes, realizing a dream that they could hardly achieve in their entire lives. This can no longer be described as a miracle. The miracle becomes pale at this moment. Everyone looked at Lin Moyu as if they had seen a ghost. Everyone had the same thought in their minds: how did he do it? How did he do it? This question 967 was repeated constantly, but no answer was obtained. At this time, Lin Moyu had an idea and said loudly, "Apply for certification as a 7th order rune master." Not long after completing the 6th order rune master certification, he is going to apply for certification as a 7th order rune master. Everyone thinks it is normal. Lin Moyu is fully qualified. If even Lin Moyu is not qualified, then what are these existing 7th order rune masters? After Lin Moyu submitted the application, he quickly received a response from the Human Emperor Network. After inspection, you meet the certification requirements. Now, the Rune Master Certification Assessment will begin for you. Lin Moyu disappeared. He was sent to the assessment room dedicated to Rune Master Certification. The requirements for a 7th Order Rune Master are 20,000 Divine City Merit Points, Intermediate Divine City Authority, Divine Venerable Realm, and a 6th Order Rune Master. Lin Moyu had already met each requirement, so naturally there would be no issues. It was still the familiar room, with a void in front of him. In the void, there was a huge countdown timer. The 6,000-second countdown was hanging there, not yet officially started. The rules for certifying a 7th Order Rune Master are as follows: 1. Fuse a rune within the specified time, with no specific requirements. 2. Arrange a rune array within the specified time, with no specific requirements. Choose one of the two to proceed with the certification. The rules offered two choices, which are the two paths of a rune master. Lin Moyu was very clear that if he wanted to reach the end, he had to walk both paths together. But now he was only certifying as a rune master. As long as he could become a 7th Order Rune Master, that was enough. As for how to proceed in the future, it had nothing to do with the certification. Lin Moyu said loudly, "I choose the first option, fusing runes." Choice confirmed, assessment begins. Along with the Human Emperor Network's voice, the 6,000-second countdown began to tick down, decreasing second by second. The assessment only required successfully fusing one rune. There were no specific requirements for the rune's level or fusion degree. As long as a rune could be successfully fused, the certification could be passed. The simplest method would be to directly draw two basic runes. Then, forcibly use soul force to fuse them together, without even considering the fusion degree, and the assessment could be passed. However, Lin Moyu did not intend to do so. Since he had the ability to achieve perfect fusion, why waste his talent? Dividing his attention, both hands drew simultaneously. In the blink of an eye, two runes, one large and one small, appeared in front of him. They were still the general outline Wind-type rune and the Fire-type rune. Two streams of soul force flowed into them, quickly making adjustments. With the previous experience, Lin Moyu adjusted very quickly. In less than 2 minutes, he had adjusted the soul force to the same intensity and frequency. Soul force formed a bridge. The two runes, one large and one small, one wind and one fire, one green and one red, approached each other and naturally fused together. There were no conflicts, no leakage of power, and not even the slightest energy fluctuation. A brand new fusion rune was produced. The fused rune emitted a beautiful luster, and the outer layer quickly hardened, forming a jade-like substance. Rune transforming into jade, a sign of perfect fusion. Lin Moyu was very satisfied with his masterpiece and pushed the rune into the void for verification by the Human Emperor Network. The Human Emperor Network acted quickly, completing the verification in just 2 seconds. The countdown also froze at 5,865 seconds. Lin Moyu spent a total of 135 seconds from drawing the runes to fusing them. This speed was already considered top tier. Verification successful, congratulations on becoming a 7th Order Rune Master. At the same time, Rune Sage also received information from the Human Emperor Network. The Rune Master Association has a new 7th Order Rune Master. Name: Lin Moyu. Rune Talent Evaluation: Legendary. Rune Sage was stunned for a moment. Didn't he just become a 6th order rune master not long ago? How did he become a 7th order rune master again? Did he choose the path of rune fusion, or the path of rune arrays? Rune Sage's heart stirred, and with a light tap of his finger, a picture of Lin Mo Yu in the assessment room appeared before his eyes. The next second, his eyes suddenly shrank, and he exclaimed in uncontrollable shock, "Perfect fusion." The sage's aura fluctuated violently, causing a huge commotion. The area where he was located experienced rapid changes in the wind and clouds, and the laws rumbled. Countless law lines, under the influence of the sage's aura, bent and even broke. The wind and rain intensified, lightning flashed and thunder roared, and a large area of the sky and earth changed color. Rune Sage realized something was wrong and immediately restrained his aura, which lasted for only 3 seconds. Fortunately, he was in the Divine City, which was extremely strong and did not cause any major impact. If it were in an ordinary star, these 3 seconds of aura fluctuation would be enough to shatter a star and cause a major shock to the star system. For ordinary people, the slightest aura fluctuation from a sage would be an unspeakable disaster. This was also why sages and the other shore wanted to stay away from ordinary stars, because ordinary star systems could not withstand their disturbances. 3 figures appeared simultaneously in the place where Rune Sage was in seclusion. Sage Hao, Sage Zan, and Sage Sha arrived at the same time. Rune Sage sensed them, opened the door, and welcomed them in. What happened? Sage Sha was the most impatient and direct. Sage Tian looked around, not finding anything unusual. Sage Hao's gaze stopped on the picture projected by the Human Emperor Network, and he let out a low cry of disbelief. "This is impossible." Rune Sage smiled wryly. "Nothing is impossible, the truth is right before your eyes." Sage Sha also saw the picture in the projection at this time, but he was not very sure. Is this a perfect fusion? Sage Zan said in a low voice, "He should be in the certification assessment. Is he a 7th order rune master?" Rune Sage nodded. Sage Zan showed a thoughtful expression. "Perfect fusion has an element of luck." Rune Sage, you have also had several perfect fusions, so one occasional occurrence does not mean anything. Rune Sage said, "That's true, it's not a problem for others, but for little friend Lin, I can't be sure. Since the matter happened to Lin Mo Yu, it could not be judged by common sense." Sage Zan said, "If that's the case, then we can test him. I remember when little friend Lin was promoted to 5th order rune master, you set up special challenges and corresponding rewards." Rune Sage said, "At that time, I set up tasks, corresponding to the corresponding challenges and rewards for 5th order and 6th order rune masters. I haven't touched 7th order and above yet. Then I will issue a new task now." Chapter 1895. Constant Fusion, Let's Wait and See. Lin Mo Yu waited in the assessment room for several minutes. Normally, he should have been promoted to 7th order rune master and been teleported away. But he was still here, indicating that there might be a hidden task. The Human Emperor Network's response seems to have slowed down. Is it because there are too many things to deal with recently? Is it because of the investigation of the spirit-devouring race? Although Lin Mo Yu did not personally participate in the investigation of the spirit-devouring race, his Death Dragon Knights were requisitioned in large numbers. Through the sensing of the Death Dragon Knights, Lin Mo Yu could roughly understand the current situation of the investigation. The advanced area of the Divine City had been investigated for almost half, and was spreading outwards. Out of 100 million Death Dragon Knights, more than 5 million had been requisitioned. As the investigation continued, the Human Emperor Network's pressure would also increase, and occasional stalls were normal. Lin Mo Yu was also very patient, waiting quietly. While waiting, he was also admiring the rune he had fused. The outer shell of the rune had turned into jade, looking crystal clear and very beautiful. Recalling the previous fusion process, he carefully analyzed where he could have done better and could be further improved. My technique for adjusting soul force is still too rough, it can be more delicate. This way, the speed should be further increased. And I shouldn't adjust 2 soul forces at the same time, I only need to adjust one side's soul force. The Great World Rune should actually be a super huge fusion rune, and each law rune is also one. Perhaps I can learn from them. Rune fusion is not just about putting them together, you also need to consider the fusion position to prepare for multi-rune fusion. Combining his insights from the rune locations in the Great World, Lin Mo had many ideas and thoughts for a time. He felt that his fusion method still had room for improvement, and the fusion speed could be further increased. While he was thinking, the Human Emperor Network finally responded. Open black lens bracket. After testing, the runes you have fused have reached the level of perfect fusion. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You can try to challenge and create a new record. If successful, you will receive additional rewards. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. If you fail, there will be no penalty. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Do you accept? Close black lens bracket. Lin Mo saw the reminder from the Human Emperor Network and thought, as expected. Before, at the 5th and 6th levels, there were corresponding additional challenges. There's no reason why a 7th level rune master wouldn't have an extra challenge. Here it is. There is no penalty for failure, so of course, he chose to accept. The void in front of him changed, and the original fused runes automatically dissipated. Then, a large number of runes appeared in the void, including 50 high-level runes and 500 basic runes. Open black lens bracket. Please select any 2 runes from the given runes for fusion. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You need to draw the runes yourself. The given runes are just for reference. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Successfully complete perfect fusion 3 times in a row to be considered a successful challenge, otherwise, it will be considered a failed challenge. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. There is no time limit for the challenge, and you can start at any time. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the challenge rules, Lin Mo smiled slightly. It doesn't seem difficult. The 550 runes in the void were all relatively common runes. They were basically related to the laws of earth, water, wind, fire, starlight, etc. He just needed to fancy a few, then draw them himself, and then fuse them. Moreover, there was no time limit, which meant that there was no need to rush at all. The difficulty of this challenge was to complete perfect fusion 3 times in a row. In the eyes of others, this was an impossible task. But in Lin Mo's eyes, it was not difficult either. Soon, he picked out 3 pairs of runes, all combinations of high-level runes and basic runes. Blazing Flame Rune and Yellow Earth Rune, Profound Ice Rune and Metal Severing Rune, Young Thunder Rune and Submerged Water Rune. Among them, the Blazing Flame Rune, Profound Ice Rune, and Young Thunder Rune were all high-level runes. The Yellow Earth Rune, Profound Ice Rune, and Submerged Water Rune belonged to basic runes. Lin Mo multitasked, drawing the Blazing Flame Rune and Yellow Earth Rune simultaneously with both hands. The Blazing Flame Rune was filled with raging flames, looking like a ball of fire itself. The Yellow Earth Rune flickered with earthy yellow light, its power not very strong. Then, the power of his soul was divided into 2 and injected into them. Lin Mo felt the vibration of his soul power and adjusted the vibration frequency at the same time. Several Saint Sovereigns watched everything Lin Mo did. When Lin Mo was drawing runes with both hands, the House Saint Sovereign had already praised him repeatedly. Little friend Lin's talent in the way of runes is not much weaker than his talent in clearing secret realms. The Rune Saint Sovereign said, "He's just multitasking, it's nothing." The House Saint Sovereign raised an eyebrow. Multitasking is already very difficult. Ordinary cultivators can't do it at all. The Rune Saint Sovereign smiled lightly and opened another projection. Inside was the scene of Lin Mo multitasking, drawing runes with 4 hands simultaneously during the previous challenge. Even the House Saint Sovereign, who had seen the world, was dumbfounded. Multitasking with 4 hands, he asked himself, he couldn't do it. This was different from fighting and killing enemies. Combat was broad and sweeping, while drawing runes was an extremely precise task that could not tolerate the slightest mistake. Multitasking in drawing runes was much more difficult than multitasking in combat. Seeking fresh flowers. The War Saint Sovereign sighed, "Little friend Lin cannot be judged by common sense. I don't know why, but I feel that perfect fusion is not difficult for little friend Lin." The Rune Saint Sovereign narrowed his eyes. "I have this feeling too. I think little friend Lin should have found a way to perfectly fuse runes." They all knew that there must be a way to perfectly fuse runes. Otherwise, those ancient runes and ancient rune formations would not exist. If they could know the method of perfectly fusing runes, it would also be a good thing for them, these Saint Sovereigns, especially the Rune Saint Sovereign's research, which might go a step further. In the expectant gazes of several Saint Sovereigns, the runes in Lin Mo's palm finally moved. Lin Mo finally adjusted the soul vibration to be consistent, which took 2 minutes this time. Although there was no improvement in time, it was actually a little improvement because it was an unfamiliar rune. Dot 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 dot. Lin Mo knew that if he fused the same runes next time, the speed would be much faster. The yellow earth rune, with a faint yellow light, approached the blazing flame rune. Soul power turned into a bridge to receive the yellow earth rune. The yellow earth rune entered the blazing flame rune smoothly and stayed there safely. The whole process seemed so harmonious and natural, a matter of course. The fused rune quickly appeared jade-like, indicating that this was a perfect fusion. Several saint sovereigns' eyes were shining, and they looked at each other, faintly with excitement. The Heaven Saint Sovereign said, "Don't worry, keep watching." At this time, Lin Mo had already begun to draw the second pair of runes, still multitasking, quickly drawing the runes. This time it was the profound ice rune and the metal severing rune. He finished drawing the runes in seconds, then soul power flowed into them, and he began to adjust. In less than 2 minutes, the soul adjustment was completed, and the two runes began to fuse. The picture was still very beautiful, and the fused rune quickly jadified, verifying success. The third group was the Yang Thunder rune and the Submerged Water rune. After the Yin Thunder rune appeared, it appeared extremely violent, with lightning flashing inside and outside the rune. Lin Mo realized that this rune was not easy to serve, it was not as quiet as other runes. It was also the one he faced with the highest fusion difficulty. But what if the difficulty was high? It was not that it could not be fused. The Rune Saint Sovereign looked at the Yang Thunder rune. "I didn't expect him to choose the Thunder rune. The Thunder rune has always been the most difficult to fuse." The Heaven Saint Sovereign said in a deep voice, "Isn't that just right? If even the Thunder rune can be perfectly fused, it can completely prove that little friend Lin has really mastered the method of rune fusion." The Rune Saint Sovereign looked solemn, staring intently. "Let's wait and see." Chapter 1896. If you can't beat them, join them. After the soul power entered the Yang Thunder rune, it immediately began to vibrate violently. The vibration amplitude and frequency were stronger than any previous time. Especially compared to the Submerged Water rune, the difference was even more obvious. If the Submerged Water rune was as calm as a windless lake, then the Yang Thunder rune was like an ocean in a storm. In this case, it was much more difficult to stabilize the soul power. It's because of the Thunder rune, which contains the Thunder law, so it's more violent. It's not just because of the Thunder rune. The Yang Thunder rune is also one of the more powerful among the many high-level runes. In this way, the more violent the law contained in the rune, and the greater the power, the more difficult it is to fuse. From this, it can also be inferred that as more and more runes are fused, and the power becomes stronger and stronger, the difficulty of fusion will greatly increase. Maybe it's because there are only 6 combinations at present. While Lin Mo was thinking, he did not stop controlling his soul power. The soul power was always adjusting, never stopping. Multitasking had long been commonplace for him. Lin Mo had extremely strong control over his soul, and he was also extremely sensitive. Even the slightest change could be sensed. Now that he encountered some problems, he couldn't help but frown. The Yang Lightning rune was simply too violent. The lightning laws within it couldn't remain still for a moment, causing his soul force to tremble incessantly, making synchronization impossible. Unless he used his powerful soul to forcefully suppress the Yang Lightning rune, but that would go against his original intention. The fusion of runes is naturally not going to be smooth sailing. Take it slow, and you'll always find a solution. Lin Mo Yu reassured himself, continuing to adjust his soul and searching for the correct method. In any case, there's no time limit for the challenge, so he wasn't in a hurry. If he couldn't find it in an hour, then he'd take a day. If he couldn't find it in a day, then he'd take 10 days, 100 days. Within the God City, several sacred sovereigns watched the projection, knowing that Lin Mo Yu had encountered a problem. Sacred Sovereign House consciousness returned from the Human Emperor Network. "I just checked the Human Emperor Network, and historically, no one has ever perfectly fused a lightning-type rune. In the history of the human race, almost every instance of perfect rune fusion has been recorded. Who fused it, what level of rune master, the circumstances, what rune it was, and the effects after fusion. The human race's rune masters have been constantly trying to find the rules for perfect rune fusion, but unfortunately there have been no results. In the vast amount of perfect fusion records, there has never been a perfect fusion involving a lightning-type rune. It can only be said that lightning-type runes are too difficult. Now that even Lin Mo Yu has encountered difficulties, let alone anyone else. Rune Sacred Sovereign said, just because others can't do it doesn't mean he can't. I have faith in him. Heavenly Sacred Sovereign chuckled, where does Rune Sacred Sovereign's confidence come from? Rune Sacred Sovereign said, we are all rune masters. I see the result in his eyes. He will definitely find a way. Lin Moyu's eyes were firm and full of confidence. Just as Rune Sacred Sovereign said, Lin Moyu also firmly believed that he could find a way. Lin Moyu tirelessly comprehended, carefully sensing every detail. Time passed bit by bit, and Lin Moyu gradually understood. A day later, Lin Moyu's eyes suddenly lit up. I understand. Why do I have to stabilize the vibration? I can make other runes vibrate along with it. If you can't beat them, join them. Lin Moyu's eyes shone with light. He acted on his thoughts and began to manipulate his soul force. The Yang lightning rune was constantly vibrating his soul force, making it impossible to stabilize. If that was the case, then he would make the submerged water rune vibrate as well. As long as the vibration frequencies of the two were the same, then it would be possible. In one day, Lin Moyu had sensed the vibration of the Yang lightning rune countless times and had grasped the pattern. Now he controlled the soul force within the submerged water rune, causing the originally quiet submerged water rune to begin vibrating. Lin Moyu's control over his soul was too strong. He quickly made the two runes reach the same vibration frequency. After confirming that the frequencies were completely consistent, the submerged water rune began to approach the Yang lightning rune. Throughout the entire process, Lin Moyu remained cautious and did not relax in the slightest. Finally, the two runes came into contact with each other. The soul formed a bridge, and the two runes, through the bridge of the soul, fused together like water and milk. Soon, the rune transformed into jade. A layer of crystal clear jade quality was produced, with faint flashes of lightning inside. Success! Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief and pushed the rune toward the void. Within the God City, Rune Sacred Sovereign's eyes lit up. Success! Slaughter Sacred Sovereign murmured, goodness, how did he do it? I'll go ask him. Come back. Sacred Sovereign Hao pulled Slaughter Sacred Sovereign back. What's the rush? It's not too late to ask when little friend Lin returns. Heavenly Sacred Sovereign laughed. That's right, you don't study runes, why are you so concerned? If anyone should be anxious, it's Rune Sacred Sovereign. Rune Sacred Sovereign shook his head. The one thing we rune masters don't lack is patience. Let's wait for little friend Lin to return before asking. I still need to arrange the challenge tasks for the 8th and 9th level rune masters. It's really a headache. I don't know what else I can have him challenge. Sacred Sovereign Hao whispered, little friend Lin has just broken through to the 7th level rune master. He shouldn't be able to break through to the 8th level rune master for the time being, right? Rune Sacred Sovereign shook his head, who knows? Little friend Lin is different from others. Open black lens bracket. Congratulations on completing the challenge, receiving a reward of 10,000 God City merits, access to 8th level rune master information, and access to fused rune information. Close black lens bracket. Lin Moyu received the reward information from the Human Emperor Network. The first two were the same as before, nothing new. The last one was an additional access to fused rune information. Fused rune information is very valuable, its data summarized by countless human ancestors through repeated experiments. The information records which two runes, when fused, will produce what kind of rune, what its uses are, and its power, etc. There are too many runes, and there are countless ways to combine them. Without the information, Lin Moyu wouldn't know how many years he would have to research on his own. Having this information can save a lot of time. The scene in front of him changed, and Lin Moyu left the examination room. Lin Moyu found himself on the 7th floor, where all the 7th level rune masters were. Each of them had a steady aura and were all high-level god sovereigns. The minimum requirement for a 7th level rune master is the god sovereign realm, but often those who can reach the 7th level are basically high-level god sovereigns. Lin Moyu was an absolute anomaly. Lin Moyu's sudden appearance also attracted the attention of some high-level rune masters. They all recognized Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's performance in the previous challenges was too astonishing. It was impossible not to recognize him. Upon seeing Lin Moyu, they all exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, it's you. Disciple Lin has actually become a 7th level rune master. Congratulations. Disciple Lin's speed of advancement is too fast. Compared to Disciple Lin, this old man has really lived to be a dog. Isn't that right?" This old man used more than 400 years to advance from the 6th level to the 7th level. Compared to disciple Lin, I'm really worse than a dog. A little over 100 days ago, Lin Moyu had just advanced to the 6th level rune master, but now he was a 7th level rune master. In a mere 100 days, he had completed the path that others had taken hundreds or thousands of years to walk. This speed made people not even dare to be jealous. When the gap reached a certain level, there was only sighing and admiration. Now these high-level rune masters only had envy and joy for the fact that such a genius could be born in the human race. High-level god sovereigns basically all loved the human race. They congratulated Lin Moyu, and Lin Moyu returned their greetings one by one. According to one rune master, the 7th floor area hadn't been this lively in a long time. After a brief exchange, they finally dispersed. Every rune master was very busy. They had endless rune knowledge to learn. Some high-level rune masters were trying to fuse runes. Chapter 1897. Sacred Sovereigns Come to Seek Advice. Lin Moyu watched for a while and found that these high-level rune masters were indeed very experienced in fusing runes, and they could succeed in most cases. However, the runes they fused basically had flaws. Moreover, the fusion degree of most runes was only between 60% and 70%. Such runes might be fine if used alone, but if they were used to form a rune array, the effect would be much worse. Experience is certainly important, but the correct method is the core. Lin Moyu thought to himself. He didn't reveal his correct method. After all, his method was very difficult and had a naturally high requirement for soul sensitivity. Even if he were to say it, now wasn't a good time. Perhaps when he became a 9th level rune master or reached the other shore, he would have real persuasive power. He couldn't possibly run up to a high-level rune master and tell them that they were wrong and that they needed to first train their soul's sensitivity. Although rune masters were eager to learn, they were also proud and couldn't be easily refuted. Lin Mo continued to find an empty spot and began to research the information on fusion runes. The Gale rune and Lightning rune can be fused to form the Wind and Thunder rune, which can increase the power by about 3 times. The Fire Sea rune and Earth rune can be fused to form the Fire Prison rune. The Fireball rune and Ice rune are fused halfway, and after being sealed, they can form the Ice and Fire Burst rune. There was a lot of information on fusion runes, and Lin Mo carefully read them one by one. There were all kinds of combinations, strange and varied. Runes have a characteristic. The stronger the drawer, the deeper the understanding of the rune, the stronger the drawn rune. The same ordinary Fireball rune, drawn by a high-level rune master, is completely different from that drawn by a Tier 1 rune master. The former can destroy stars, while the latter may only be able to kill an ordinary beast. Moreover, the effect of the fusion rune is also related to the degree of fusion. The higher the degree of fusion, the stronger the effect. Therefore, much of the information in the data can only be used as a reference and cannot be completely copied. Lin Mo carefully checked, kept all kinds of fusion runes in his mind, and at the same time was looking for the ones he needed. In addition to the fusion of 2 runes, there are also data on the fusion of 3 and 4 runes. However, compared to the fusion of 2 runes, the amount of data on the fusion of 3 and 4 runes is much smaller. As for the fusion data of 5 and 6 runes, there is none at all. Lin Mo also knew that the fusion data of 5 and 6 runes should be very precious and would not be easily shown to others. For now, the fusion of 2 runes is enough, and even the fusion of 3 runes is not needed. He wanted to upgrade the Golden Armor rune, and he already had some ideas in his mind. Now all he has to do is turn what he thinks into reality. The ocean of knowledge is boundless, and Lin Mo sat for 30 days. In 30 days, he memorized all the information on the fusion runes, and also found the runes he needed. But whether it will work or not requires further verification. Then came the second step. Lin Mo began to check the information of the Tier 8 rune masters. There is much less information on Tier 8 rune masters than on Tier 7. It contains more experience and skills, rather than detailed information about the runes. After all, at the level of a high-level rune master, the knowledge that should be mastered has already been mastered. What is lacking is experience and skills, and the experience left by the predecessors becomes valuable at this moment. After Lin Mo finished reading it, he also felt quite rewarded. It's time to verify my ideas. Lin Mo withdrew from the sea of books. This time, he entered the Human Emperor Network, and it has been more than 150 days. For cultivators on the path of cultivation, a mere 150 days is just a snap of the fingers. In this snap of the fingers, Lin Mo gained a lot. His understanding of runes has become more in-depth, and at the same time, he has also felt the history of the human race. In the data of the Tier 8 rune masters, and in the massive data of fusion runes, there are countless efforts of the sages of the human race. Passing on from generation to generation, and striving from generation to generation, he can feel the greatness of the human race. Between the lines, there is also the immortal will of the sages of the human race. After leaving the human emperor network, Lin Mo sat motionless for a full half an hour. He was calming his thoughts, withdrawing from the inexplicable shock, and truly achieving a state of tranquility. This is also the state required for drawing runes, fusing runes, and drawing rune arrays next. Half an hour later, Lin Mo left the quiet room and went to where Lin Mohan was. From a distance, he saw that Lin Mohan was still cultivating there. Her aura was stronger than before, and she seemed to have reached the 8th level of the god realm. Lin Mohan's aura was very stable, and there was no sign of emptiness caused by rapid cultivation. My sister's talent is really enviable. Lin Mo sighed softly and turned back. He didn't get close. It was enough to see that Lin Mohan was fine. Returning to the quiet room, he saw Rune Saint Venerable waiting in front of the quiet room. Lin Mo was slightly startled, stepped forward to salute. "Senior, why are you here?" He remembered that Rune Saint Venerable was studying how to check the rune array of the soul-devouring race. How could he have time to come to him? Rune Saint Venerable said, "I want to ask you for some advice, let's go in and talk." His words made Lin Mo feel flattered. A Saint Venerable who entered the Tao with runes actually said that he wanted to ask him for advice, which made Lin Mo feel extremely strange. The two entered the quiet room, the door closed, and the formation in the quiet room operated, bringing light. The quiet room is very large, with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters. If necessary, the space can be further expanded with the formation. Lin Mo and Rune Saint Venerable sat facing each other. Rune Saint Venerable directly asked for advice. How did you achieve the perfect fusion of runes? So that's the question. Although Lin Mo was a little surprised, he was not strange. The Saint Venerables have very high authority in the Human Emperor Network. If they need to, they can monitor every corner of the human race through the Human Emperor Network. What happens in the Human Emperor Network cannot be hidden from their eyes. Lin Mo didn't intend to hide it. Actually, the method is very simple, just control the vibration frequency of the soul 903. Rune Saint Venerable was a little puzzled. What is the vibration frequency of the soul? This was the first time he had heard this term, and he couldn't understand it for a while. Lin Mo stretched out his right hand, palm up, and 2 groups of soul power flew out, floating above his palm. Do you think there is any difference between these 2 groups of soul power? Rune Saint Venerable was not careless, but looked carefully. 2 groups of seemingly identical soul power were floating on Lin Mo's palm. Rune Saint Venerable looked carefully for a long time, but did not see any difference, and asked with doubt, "There seems to be no difference." Lin Mo shook his head. "Actually, there is a difference, but the difference is very weak." Rune Saint Venerable was even more puzzled. He was still watching, but still didn't see it. Lin Mo said, "I'll magnify their difference a little, and you can take another look." As he spoke, he increased the vibration frequency of the soul group on the right. While the soul power remained unchanged, the vibration frequency became about twice as fast. This time, Rune Saint Venerable finally felt something, but this feeling was still not obvious. Lin Mo said, "I'll speed it up a little more, and you can sense it with your soul. Sometimes the eyes are not working." Saying that, Lin Mo once again doubled the vibration frequency of the soul group on the right, which was already twice as fast as the one on the left. Rune Saint Venerable nodded and did so. The soul power of the Saint Venerable realm probed out and wrapped Lin Mo's 2 groups of souls. This time the feeling was finally clear, and a look of surprise appeared in Rune Saint Venerable's eyes. Chapter 1898. The soul can also be trained. As a Saint Venerable, the sharpness of his soul is not low. Under Lin Mo's deliberate manipulation, Rune Saint Venerable felt the difference between the 2 groups of souls. Rune Saint Venerable murmured, "One is like flowing water, the other is like a raging fire." This is the feeling that the 2 groups of souls gave him. Although the flowing water is also moving, it is smooth and stable, and even people whose souls are not sensitive cannot feel its fluctuations. The soul group on the right is completely different. It is like a flame, constantly jumping, very active. Lin Mo said, "This is the vibration of soul power. I am now reducing the vibration frequency, and you continue to feel it." Saying that, Lin Mo weakened the soul vibration on the right, and Rune Saint Venerable was fully focused, carefully feeling the soul change. He could clearly feel that the flame-like soul on the right was gradually extinguishing. Its vibration was becoming weaker and weaker, more and more gentle. Lin Mo's speed of weakening the soul was not fast, decreasing little by little at a rate of 10%. But for the Saint Venerable, this change was still very obvious, and Rune Saint Venerable could fully grasp this change. When the soul power completely returned to its original state, the two groups of souls on the left and right looked exactly the same again. Saint Venerable Fu frowned. "They've become the same." Lin Mo Yu said, "I'll continue to enhance the soul now, but this amplification will be very slow. Take another look." He began to amplify the soul on the right again, but this time the amplification was very slow, increasing only 1% each time. At the same time, Lin Mo Yu also paid attention to Saint Venerable Fu's expression. As the soul changed little by little, Saint Venerable Fu's expression did not change accordingly. It wasn't until the soul power on the right exceeded 20% that Saint Venerable Fu's expression changed accordingly. Lin Mo Yu knew that he had sensed the change in soul power, and the amplification of soul power stopped at this moment. Lin Mo Yu said, "Now I'll reduce the vibration of the soul power on the right a little. Tell me how the two feel different." As he spoke, he reduced the soul power on the right by 1%. Saint Venerable Fu frowned again. "The two are the same." The reason for frowning was not that the two groups of soul power were the same, but that he clearly knew that the two groups of soul power were different, but he couldn't feel it. Lin Mo Yu withdrew the two groups of souls. Actually, they were different from the beginning, but the difference was very small at the beginning, only about 1% diaresis. You felt the difference when their difference reached 20%. Saint Venerable Fu said, "This should be related to the sensitivity of the soul. Your soul is extremely sensitive and can sense various subtle differences, but I can't." Lin Mo Yu nodded. "In fact, the principle of perfect fusion of runes is very simple. We use the soul as a bridge. As long as we keep the vibrations of the two souls completely consistent, we can perfectly fuse the runes. It doesn't matter what runes they are, or how many runes there are." Saint Venerable Fu never imagined that the answer to the problem that had plagued the human race for tens of thousands of years would be so simple. Saint Venerable Fu still couldn't believe it. "Is it that simple?" Lin Mo Yu said, "The principle is indeed that simple, but it's not easy to actually do it. Our souls are divided into two. After entering the runes, the vibration frequency of the soul will be affected by the runes and undergo subtle changes. This change may be less than 1%, maybe only 1,000th, or even lower. It is this subtle difference that can lead to the failure of runes to perfectly fuse. Moreover, the stronger the power of the rune, the more violent the laws involved, and the greater the impact on the soul. This is also the reason why thunder runes are difficult to perfectly fuse." Saint Venerable Fu completely understood. He entered the Saint Venerable realm through the way of runes, and his research on runes was very in-depth. He quickly found the real key to the problem. Saint Venerable Fu frowned. "The most critical issue is still the sensitivity to changes in the soul." Lin Mo Yu had expected that Saint Venerable Fu would grasp the key. "That's right, as long as the soul is sensitive enough to feel this change and control it, perfect fusion is not difficult." Saint Venerable Fu sighed softly, "But everyone's soul sensitivity is different. Not to mention others, even I can't do it." Lin Mo Yu smiled. "Actually, I have also thought about this problem. The sensitivity of the soul can be improved through training. However, there will still be differences between individuals, and the specific amount of improvement also varies from person to person." As he spoke, Lin Mo Yu waved his hand, and 20 light clusters composed of soul power flew out and stayed in midair. The 20 soul light clusters were like 20 stars, shining in midair. In the eyes of normal people, these 20 soul light clusters are exactly the same, but Saint Venerable Fu knew very well that they were actually different. Lin Mo Yu said, "You can carefully feel the differences between them. Try a few more times." Saint Venerable Fu nodded, and he began to use his soul power to feel the 20 soul light clusters, feeling the differences between each other. Lin Mo Yu looked at the focused Saint Venerable Fu, smiled slightly, and then walked aside. He also had his own things to do. His fingers swiped in the air, and he began to draw runes. He had already conceived the required runes in his mind. A golden armor rune was quickly drawn. The golden armor rune was originally fused from a high-level rune and 10 basic runes, but that fusion was not a true fusion, it could only be regarded as a combination. Now Lin Moyu wants to transform and upgrade the golden armor rune. With Lin Moyu's will, the drawn golden armor rune automatically dispersed, and turned back into a high-level rune and 10 basic runes. With a thoughtful look in his eyes, it was impossible for him to fuse all 11 runes together. Although he knew very well that fusing all 11 runes together would definitely have the best effect, it was not realistic. The difficulty was too high, and it could not be mass-produced. The upgraded golden armor rune was not for his own use, but to supply the undead legion. Therefore, it was necessary to consider whether the runes could be mass-produced. Otherwise, if he were to draw the runes alone, he might not be able to cover every member of the undead legion even if he drew until the end of time. So, after considering various situations, Lin Moyu chose a compromise. Next is the experiment. Let's start with the simplest one. With another movement of his will, the just dispersed golden armor rune reassembled again, turning back into the appearance of the golden armor rune. Then Lin Moyu drew an earthy yellow basic rune, the most basic yellow stone rune in the Earth series of runes. The yellow stone rune can enhance defense, and can also be fused with other runes. It has the advantages of the Earth series of runes, such as thickness and stability, and is the first choice for many rune masters to fuse runes. Lin Moyu chose it as the first fusion rune, precisely because of these reasons. The soul power slowly flowed out, divided into two, and integrated into the two runes respectively. Lin Moyu frowned. The armor rune was not a whole, but was composed of multiple runes. As soon as the soul power entered it, it dispersed and lost contact. That won't work. With a movement of Lin Moyu's will, the golden armor rune exploded again. Then, regardless of other runes, the soul first entered the main high-level rune, and first fused the main rune and the yellow stone rune. After slightly adjusting the soul vibration frequency, Lin Moyu skillfully fused the two runes together. There were no problems throughout the process. After integrating the yellow stone rune, the main rune immediately became much stronger, and the outer shell also appeared jade-like. Then 10 basic runes were combined with it, and it was retransformed into a golden armor rune. Lin Moyu could feel that the golden armor rune had indeed become stronger after integrating the yellow stone rune. Bang! With a soft sound, cracks suddenly appeared in the golden armor rune, and then it fell apart, turning into countless fragments. Failed. Chapter 1899. New Golden Armor Rune, Powerful Defense. Looking at the collapsed rune, there was no disappointment in Lin Moyu's eyes. Failure is normal. It would be abnormal if it succeeded in one go. The golden armor rune was created by him, and there was no precedent to follow. How could it be so easy to succeed? When creating the golden armor rune before, it also failed repeatedly before finally succeeding. Continue. Lin Moyu made another golden armor rune and started the second experiment. The object of fusion was still the yellow stone rune. The golden armor rune dispersed, and the yellow stone rune and the main rune were fused. It was still a perfect fusion, and the whole process went smoothly. Then the golden armor rune was reorganized, and the process was still very smooth. The golden armor rune exuded a more powerful aura than before, and the effect increased significantly. But after only 3 seconds, the golden armor rune declared its collapse. Then the third experiment, the result was exactly the same. Lin Moyu did not make any changes, and continued to experiment as before. Looking at his expression, he was not worried about failure at all. The golden armor rune collapsed again and again, and after collapsing 10 times in a row, Lin Moyu stopped. It should be caused by insufficient balance. The main rune is too weak, and the 10 basic runes are not strong enough. Try replacing all 10 basic runes with fused runes. Through 10 experiments, Lin Moyu found the reason. Next, he fused the 11 runes that made up the golden armor rune with the yellow stone rune one by one, and finally reassembled them into a golden armor rune. At the moment when the new golden armor rune was formed, the entire training room was resplendent, and the golden armor rune was like a star, rising slowly into the sky. The new golden armor rune was completely jade-like, like a delicate golden jade piece, exceptionally beautiful. Lin Moyu quietly felt with his soul, while waiting patiently. Feeling the vibration of the golden armor talisman, he sensed it for a full half-hour. After half an hour, the vibration frequency of the golden armor talisman remained unchanged, very stable. Lin Moyu finally confirmed, it's a success. Let's see how effective it is. With a thought, 2 skeleton god generals appeared beside him. The golden armor talisman flew towards one of the skeleton god generals, merged into its soul fire, and replaced the old golden armor talisman. Then the new golden armor talisman was activated, and the jade white skeleton god general was immediately dyed with golden light. A tangible golden armor appeared on the skeleton god general. In sharp contrast to the old golden armor talisman, the old golden armor talisman was illusory and hazy, while the new golden armor talisman was more like a golden armor. The skeleton god general, clad in golden armor, was majestic and unparalleled, with an imposing aura. Like a golden armored war god from hell, it was frightening. It looks good, but I don't know how powerful it is. With a thought, the other skeleton god general immediately raised its bone sword and launched an attack. Jade white sword energy, wrapped in grey death power, slammed into the golden armor. The golden armor remained motionless in the sword energy, its golden light dazzling, easily blocking the sword energy. The full blow of the skeleton god general reached the 6th level of the godly exalted realm, and being blocked so easily was enough to prove the power of the golden armor talisman. Lin Moyu's heart stirred, and he tapped his finger lightly. The skeleton king appeared in the cultivation room, and Lin Moyu simultaneously reduced the formation in the cultivation room and expanded the space, otherwise the cultivation room could not accommodate the skeleton king at all. The skeleton king swung its huge bone sword, striking the skeleton god general. Brilliant golden light burst out, and the skeleton god general remained motionless, blocking the skeleton king's bone sword. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. Although the skeleton king's sword did not use any spells, it also reached the attack power of the 9th level of the godly exalted realm. The effect of the golden armor talisman was more than expected. Use the god slaying. With a thought, the skeleton king swung its sword again, using the god slaying sword. Bright sword light erupted on the skeleton god general, and the golden light became even more dazzling. Accompanied by a roar, the golden armor talisman finally collapsed, but the god-slaying sword failed to cause any damage to the skeleton god general. The two were evenly matched, annihilating each other. The skeleton king's god-slaying sword has reached the peak of the godly exalted realm. That is to say, the defense of the golden armor talisman can withstand a blow from the peak of the godly exalted realm. Very good, very good. Lin Moyu was very satisfied. The golden armor talisman was able to achieve this effect, which had already met his expectations. Although he could make the golden armor talisman stronger, he also had to consider the issue of mass production. After weighing it again and again, Lin Moyu finally decided to maintain the current state. The new golden armor talisman had been completed, and the next step was to change the production line of the golden armor talisman. This was the headache, and no one could guide Lin Moyu in this regard, and all of them needed Lin Moyu to explore on his own. Lin Moyu summoned Xiao Jin, as well as all the talisman formations he had previously created. 10 across and 10 vertically, a total of 100 talisman formations, floating neatly in midair. In the center of the formation was Xiao Jin, the spirit of the formation. Coming to the outside world and seeing Lin Moyu, Xiao Jin seemed very excited. Hello, master, hello, master. Lin Moyu also greeted Xiao Jin with a smile. You will be busy for a while. Xiao Jin patted his chest to assure, Xiao Jin is very capable, master, if you have anything, just tell me. Okay. Lin Moyu began to transform the formation. The previous formation was divided into 2 steps. The first step was to jointly create the main rune and 10 basic runes, and the second step was to combine the 11 runes to finally form the golden armor talisman. There was no need to change the steps, and there was no need to move the second step, and what needed to be changed was the manufacturing block. Now what needed to be manufactured were fusion runes, and each rune needed to be integrated into the yellow stone talisman. There were 2 methods placed in front of Lin Moyu. One was to set up a formation for drawing the yellow stone talisman for each golden armor talisman formation, and let it provide the yellow stone talisman for the golden armor talisman formation. The second method was to provide the yellow stone talisman for each rune separately, so each golden armor talisman would need to set up 11 formations to generate the yellow stone talisman separately, which would increase the workload by more than 10 times. The 2 methods had their own advantages and disadvantages, and Lin Moyu could not judge which one was better for a while, so he could only try them one by one. The huge workload, even Lin Moyu, would take a lot of time to complete this experiment. 50 days later, Talisman Saint Venerable finally recovered his mind. After these days of continuous sensing of the 20 soul light clusters, his soul sensitivity had finally increased. He could sense the differences between the soul light cluster with the weakest vibration and the soul light cluster with the strongest vibration. The 20% difference in vibration frequency between the two was finally sensed by him. However, Talisman Saint Venerable did not know that this was only the first step, and there was a long way to go behind. When he could sense even the slightest change, he would be able to perfectly fuse runes every time like Lin Mo Yu. Perfectly fused runes were a huge temptation for every talisman master. Not far away, there were violent fluctuations, and dazzling golden light cut through the darkness. Talisman Saint Venerable turned his head to look and saw Lin Mo Yu experimenting with new runes. This is. Talisman Saint Venerable looked at it with some incomprehension. Lin Mo Yu was walking the path of rune fusion. When did he start to get involved with talisman formations? This talisman formation is a bit special, I have never seen it before. The technique of arranging the talisman formation is very skilled. It seems that he is no stranger to the talisman formation. This talisman formation is not an attack talisman formation, nor is it a defense talisman formation, but gradually, Talisman Saint Venerable's eyes widened, and he once again showed an incredible look. Chapter 1900. What is a slightly tortuous process? Talisman Saint Venerable was a little out of control. He actually uses talismans to make talismans. How dare he think of it? He is so bold. Lin Mo Yu's actions were too unexpected, using talisman formations to create runes. This was something that many talisman masters did not dare to think about. Even Talisman Saint Venerable had never thought about it. Talisman Saint Venerable forgot about training his soul sensitivity in shock, and stared at Lin Mo Yu intently. I didn't want this to be just the beginning of the shock, and Lin Mo Yu did even bolder things next. Not only did he use talisman formations to create runes, but he also wanted to use talisman formations to fuse runes. In the cognition of countless talisman masters, the fusion of runes requires constant attempts, accumulating experience in countless failures, and finally completing the fusion. But Lin Mo Yu wanted to directly use formations to fuse runes, which was even more excessive than wishful thinking. But Lin Mo Yu did it. Whether it was courage or imagination, it was so big that it reached the sky. Talisman Saint Venerable's heart moved, and he connected to the Human Emperor network to record everything Lin Mo Yu was doing in an all-round way. Lin Mo Yu did not know that Talisman Saint Venerable was paying attention to him, but even if he knew, it didn't matter. What he did was not something that people could not see. He had failed countless times, and he was also accumulating experience, failing again and again, accumulating again and again. After countless attempts, he finally gained some experience. Lin Mo Yu had already determined his direction. He wanted to arrange a formation to produce yellow stone talismans for each basic rune separately. This was the most troublesome and the most workload method. For this reason, he needed to make major changes to the basic structure of the entire formation, and even needed to adapt it to Xiao Jin. The volume of the formation was at least doubled, and whether Xiao Jin could successfully control it was a problem. Lin Mo Yu had communicated with Xiao Jin, and Xiao Jin said that there was no problem. In recent years, Xiao Jin had improved both in intelligence and control. After completely determining the direction, Lin Mo began to modify the array. He set up an array specifically for producing yellow stone charms, and then connected the array to one of the arrays in the golden armor charm array that specialized in producing basic runes. In this way, the produced yellow stone charms would be automatically sent over to fuse with the produced basic runes. But this was only the first step. Then, Lin Mo infused his soul power into the two arrays. He adjusted the vibration frequencies of the two arrays. Fusing runes required soul power as a bridge, and also required the same vibration frequency. In the past, he adjusted individual runes, but now he had to adjust the entire array, and the difficulty was completely different. Lin Mo adjusted for several days in a row, finally adjusting the frequencies of the two to be completely consistent. After the second step was completed, the array could not be used immediately. His soul power could not always be present, and his soul could not adjust the array at all times. He needed to hand over the continuous work to others. Little Gold, the array spirit, was the chief manager of the array, and was an independent entity, so it was impossible to manipulate soul power with precision. Lin Mo had already thought about who to give this task to. World Tree. Besides it, there was no better candidate. With a thought, a branch flew out from his side, and the World Tree broke through the boundary between the virtual and the real, and came to the real world. The World Tree branch gently rested on the array, replacing Lin Mo in manipulating the array. It had originally been providing Lin Mo with soul power, and could be said to be very familiar with Lin Mo's soul power. The array began to operate. A yellow stone charm was drawn by the array, and then entered the array of basic runes along the connecting channel. At this time, basic runes were also being manufactured. The two runes quickly met and then fused. With Lin Mo's soul power as a bridge, the two rune arrays were adjusted to the same vibration frequency, and even the vibration frequencies of the manufactured runes were exactly the same. Without any accidents, the two smoothly merged together. The newly born fused rune quickly Jade Iz, representing the perfect fusion of the rune. Lin Mo's eyes bloomed with joyful light, and he clenched his fist fiercely. Success. The rune Saint Venerable not far away couldn't help but tremble. He had a creepy feeling, not only did he succeed, but he also perfectly fused them. Then he smiled bitterly, killing someone's heart is nothing more than this. If other rune masters knew about it, I'm afraid a large number of people would have their Dao hearts collapse. Fortunately, my Dao heart is firm, fortunately. Others had great difficulty fusing runes, but Lin Mo directly used rune arrays to mass produce and mass fuse them. In the eyes of other rune masters, they were not even as good as a rune array. How could their Dao hearts not collapse? Lin Mo's eyes flickered, and he continued to urge the array. Successful fusion was only the first step, and then runes continued to be manufactured and constantly fused. As the number of fusions continued to increase, the vibration frequency of the rune array would also change slightly. At this time, the World Tree played a role. It replaced Lin Mo in adjusting the rune array, keeping the array runes consistent. Seeking fresh flowers. At the same time, it also supplemented the array with soul power, keeping the soul power abundant. After manufacturing thousands of runes in a row, and all of them were successfully fused, Lin Mo was sure that his idea had succeeded. With this experience, the next step was simple. He began to draw yellow stone charm arrays one by one, and connected them all to the golden armor charm array. The volume of the golden armor charm array expanded by nearly 3 times, and the original 2-layer structure became a 3-layer structure. The number of rune arrays also expanded from the original 12 to 23. The outermost layer was 11 arrays for manufacturing and producing yellow stone charms. The middle layer was 11 arrays for manufacturing the runes needed for the golden armor charms, and the yellow stone charms would be fused here to form new runes. The last layer was an array that combined all the runes to become a new golden armor charm. This array was the simplest, but it would not work without it. Lin Mo went from unfamiliar to skilled, and spent 10 days in a row, finally adjusting the entire array. The array operated, lighting up layer by layer. 11 yellow stone charms were produced and flew out at the same time. Then they fused with the runes manufactured in the second layer, forming 11 brand new runes. Then the 11 runes flew to the last layer of the array, and combined in a set order to form a new golden armor charm. Under the control of Little Gold, the new golden armor charm flew out of the array, shining in the air. Lin Mo felt the new golden armor charm, which was basically no different from what he had made himself. Until this moment, Lin Mo finally let out a long sigh of relief. Completed, overall, it was considered smooth. Looking at his results, slightly with a hint of smugness, he muttered to himself, although the process was slightly tortuous, the result is still gratifying. These words fell into the ears of the rune Saint Venerable, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. He had already cursed in his heart, what was called a slightly tortuous process. He had watched the whole process, there was no twists and turns, it could not be smoother. Other rune masters fuse runes, which one is not calculated in years, often several years or decades. How many days have you spent? An automatic production of fused rune array has been completed. What is this twists and turns? It's just too smooth. The rune Saint Venerable remembered his previous experience, which was really a handful of sadness and a handful of tears, that bitterness, it was simply unbearable to look back. The rune Saint Venerable hesitated for a moment, and finally walked over to the BU.